Tea with Sandy.
News headlines of the day from CMR.
Spilling the Tea with Sandy, brought to you exclusively on Kiss FM by J. Michael. Fashion for everyone. Good morning, Sandy.
Hey, good morning, Blake and Aaron. How are you guys doing today?
Good. You sound a little bit different. Sound good.
Fantastic. Sounds good?
Yeah, sounds great. What do you have for us this morning?
Okay, well, thank you. So a couple things. There was an incident last night that had everybody a little bit concerned. There was some sort of suspected explosive device that washed up on the beach in Bodden Town down by Pirates Cave. And so the authorities went out there. Everybody from the RCIPS, fire service, and police were on location, just keeping an eye on those devices until they could get some expert to come out and decide if they were indeed explosives. But in the meantime, they were keeping everyone safe, keeping everyone away from the beach, and had the area cordoned off. So
what do they look like? Was it like old pirate ship explosives?
I don't even know. We should be getting more details today.
Oh my!
So they said they'd tell us more. Yeah, pretty.
So
exciting.
it's still cordoned off down there?
Yes.
I don't think we have a bomb squad on island, do we?
I don't believe so. So I'm not sure who is going to come and have a look at it, but
I've got an idea. everyone move out of the way and everyone throw some rocks at it.
Oh my goodness.
don't do that, by the way. This is a joke.
Yes. So they were going to monitor the devices throughout the night, and we should have more information hopefully today.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Crazy.
So, yes. And other police news, a woman was robbed of her handbag along Seymour Road by a man on a bicycle.
But like in the middle of the day.
11:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Crazy. So people said right in the vicinity of the cement factory, I guess he just rode by, opportunists and grabbed her handbag.
Yeah.
30-year-old woman was walking, minding her own business, and he grabbed her blue handbag off of her shoulder. But he also brandished a knife, which was very, very concerning. So when she saw the knife, she released the handbag.
Yeah.
And he rode off.
Downtown?
Like Seymour Drive is an industrial park area.
Yeah, industrial. Yeah, over by the cement.
The cement. Yeah. So no surprise here, but the police have reported that 2 teens who were missing just a few days ago are missing yet again. So they're looking for 15-year-old Yasmin Ebanks and 15-year-old Shania Beckford, reported missing on Friday night this time, like literally 2 days after they were found the last time. I suspect they go and look in the exact same location where they found them last time.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly where they're going to be.
All right, we'll catch Sandy's show right now on Bobo 89.1 FM. We'll see you tomorrow for the Wednesday show.
Bye.
Have a great day. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday.
Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio.
We are still spilling the tea.
And committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman.
Live, direct.
It's the cold, hard truth. Now. Join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day so far. let's go ahead and take that spilling the tea off, because guess what? It is Rundown Tuesday. So listen, we've got tons of exciting news from Health City this morning. They just opened their new oncology radiation center, and Shamari is going to be here to tell us all about that. So good morning, Shamari. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing, Sandy?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. As you can see, I'm all smiles today.
Oh, yes. You got some good news for us. We love good news. So we've got a beautiful video that we're going to share here with our viewers this morning. Tell us a little bit about how exciting the grand opening for the new oncology radiation center was. Now, first of all, I must say that I heard, unfortunately, I was not able to be there, but I heard there was not a dry eye in the entire place, because you guys actually dedicated the facility to Mr. Gene Thompson, and everybody was so incredibly touched by that. I mean, wow, amazing.
Definitely. So it was only right that we named the radiotherapy center the Gene Thompson Radiotherapy Center. So from here on out, that radiotherapy center will be named the Gene Thompson Radiotherapy Center. And it was fitting just because obviously he was part of that original team, the project director who would have been instrumental, the Caymanian project director that would have been instrumental for Health City being a reality. So all of the lives that we have saved, obviously there are a lot of people involved, but he was one of the key individuals, and it would not have happened if it was not for him. So the fact that he, unfortunately recently passed, his legacy lives on throughout this facility. And it's filling that last major gap in the Cayman Islands when it comes to radiotherapy for oncology and cancer care. Typically, you can do practically everything else on island, but you would have to travel for this major portion of the disease profile if needed. And now it's right here in the Cayman Islands, the only one that's here in the Cayman Islands, and only one of the few that's fully comprehensive in the Caribbean. So we know that there'll be a lot of patients from other islands that will be traveling to us as well, because when we travel throughout the Caribbean and even Central America, outside of everything that we offer, there's always three things that they ask for: neonatology, radiotherapy for cancer, and burns, but burns isn't something that we're looking at right now. But also, this is the first 8,000 square feet portion, phase one, that we wanted to get up earlier than the other part of the hospital, so we can treat so many people within the first year. And we already know that there is a list of persons waiting for the radiotherapy sessions. And what we're going to do is then next year, right before our anniversary, which is April 2nd coming up, that will be our 10-year anniversary, and we'll have the other 8,000 square feet, which will have the neonatology, which will have daycare surgery center, which will have 4 OTs, emergency wing. The full suite will be there right in the middle of town, where 70% of the population live and over 90% work and the such. And even when we get our patients from the cruise ships, it will be, 5 minutes away from the dock. Persons flying in air ambulance, 5 minutes away from the airport. So it's a perfect location. We're just excited that we were able to open this facility this year, and also, as you mentioned, dedicate it to Mr. Gene Thompson.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Well, let's have a look, shall we, at this beautiful facility, folks. Sit back and enjoy this exclusive tour of the new oncology center. So, Shamari, first of all, the facility looks amazing. It's beautiful. I can see
We need to
that.
give you your personalized tour.
I
So
know,
we have to
I
set that
know.
up. It's nothing like actually seeing it. I'm sorry for those in Radio Land that wouldn't have been able to see it, but
I know. They'll go back and
trust
watch
us.
it later.
It's beautiful. It's immaculate.
Yes.
And we're just
When they're not stuck in traffic, they're gonna go back.
right.
No, we're posted up on our social media pages because I mean it is really, really beautiful. And unfortunately, I was not able to be there. There was the conflicting
Yeah, no, that's no issue.
but listen,
We know where to find you. We know where to find you.
Yes. I'm so happy for you guys, and I am looking forward to doing a more in-depth tour, hopefully a bit later on this week. But this is a proud moment for you guys. You know, I was thinking about this recently, and someone had shared that this was the only time, you know, the DART organization obviously has a very wide plan of expansion. I think it spans probably like 50 years or whatever in terms of what they're going to do with Cayman Bay and other locations and stuff as well. Like they have really thought out their city planning and all of the different components to that. And Health City, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but Health City is the only facility attached to the Cayman Bay area where DART has actually authorized, you know, you guys to purchase the land and to kind of do your own thing, but still be part of that village, really, because you're right there next to the school, you're next to a housing complex. I forget which one that's called, but there's apartments that are right there. So you're really in the hub. I mean, the location is so central.
No, definitely, and it was because the division lined up with DART. Obviously, we were looking to be closer in town for all of the advantages that would provide to the patient population. And as you know, land is not readily available in the central of town, in the center of town. So we actually had a conversation with DART, with Jackie Doak and Mark Vanderbilt, in regards to what our vision is in the future for healthcare in the Cayman Islands. And it really lined up with their vision of what they need in order to have a successful development and city, and for Cayman to be successful as well. And it has to do with education as well as healthcare, are two of those additional pillars that are needed. So it really just fit perfectly. Obviously, Health City has proven ourselves over the past 9 years, and well, at that time it would have been 7 or 8 years. We would have treated many persons across the Cayman Islands, and obviously there would be some personal stories even within the Cayman Bay DART community as well in regards to Health City saving lives or helping with the quality of lives. And it just made sense, and it was a good partnership that we would have a prime location, and it's at the front of where the airport connector road will actually meet. So in future, once again, when we have air ambulances coming in, which we get quite a few, right? Prior to Health City being there, air ambulances used to leave at Caymanians. Now Caymanians can get within 25 and 30 minutes treatment instead of waiting 10 hours, which obviously you understand time is of the essence. And now for those that otherwise don't have those services in those other Caribbean islands or Central America that get the air ambulances in, we'll be able to see them even more quicker, right? So obviously half an hour is still better than if they can't get into a US facility or can't necessarily afford that price tag. But you know, shaving off half an hour works even better when we have those coming in. So great partnership. Look forward to all of the great that Health City will be able to do in the future. And yeah, it was a great day, and as you saw, the facility is absolutely beautiful, but more importantly are the medical professionals that we're going to be able and have brought in and will be bringing in for the radiotherapy center, as well as the quality of outcomes that we look forward to continuing as Health City.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you had so many, you know, guests there. Everyone, some people went there first, the, you know, political dignitaries. Then they came to the economic outlook, and they were abuzz and talking about this beautiful radiation oncology center. And like I said, that's how I knew that there was not a dry eye in the house, because that was shared with me, how incredibly special that dedication was. And it was just really fitting that Health City recognized the contributions of Mr. Gene Thompson, obviously, and took the time to acknowledge that. And I thought that was really quite amazing.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Prior to leaving here, there was a special paragraph that Dr. Shetty wanted read, and I think
Okay.
I'll find it. I wasn't
Yes.
prepared, but I'll
Oh,
find it, and I'll read that before
Okay.
I have to depart.
We're going to go ahead and bring in Leslie now. I know that we were going to have Dr. Benoit, but of course he is a man that is in high demand. So he's
Yes.
doing emergency surgery this morning, so he won't be joining us. But of course, Dr. Benoit is the clinical director and senior cardiac surgeon at Health City, Cayman Islands. And you never know when his expertise is going to be needed.
That's right. So, as much as we will miss him, he's
Yes.
doing much more important things
Absolutely.
at this point in time. So
That's right. That's right. So we wish whoever he's in surgery with, we wish them both the best this morning for sure. And I actually have someone who just messaged so that she's overseas listening to the program just as she's about to be wheeled in for surgery overseas. So there you go. Thank you so much. So KK sending some positive thoughts about Mr. Gene and his recent passing as well. So let's go ahead and bring Leslie into the conversation. So we've got Miss Leslie Bromfield, who's a representative for Inclusion Cayman, and we're going to talk a bit this morning about Down syndrome. So good morning, Leslie. How are you?
Good morning. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And this is such an important topic, and I'm hoping that we can just move through the conversation. I know that Dr. Benoit would have obviously lent a lot of medical expertise to it, but we're going to talk about this disorder and how many babies are impacted by this. I know we do have some here in the Cayman Islands, but do you have a fix on how many persons might have Down syndrome in the Cayman Islands?
We do. At last informal count, between 20 and 30 adults and children. Of course, with health information regulations, we can't put a hard number on that. But yes, we have a nice community that's pretty connected.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And there are some thinking, is there a Down syndrome like support group? I know Inclusion Cayman offers a much broader support group for all sorts of children and adults as well. But is there one specific for Down syndrome, or are they just part of the broader Inclusion Cayman group?
Yeah, we're like I said, a nice community that's come together, especially with World Down Syndrome Day, which we're celebrating today. And about 5 years ago, Anne Marie Diaz was really instrumental in bringing that to light, and that really pulled us all together, and families, just kind of organically started connecting through that. And then, yes, now we're kind of under the umbrella of Inclusion Cayman. But yeah, it's a neat thing to see families coming together and knowing that, hey, there's a lot of support, and we try to support newborns, anyone we know connected to Cayman, whether they're born here or off island, to just let them know that there's a community of parents and friends that will support them in this wonderful, crazy journey of Down syndrome.
Yes. So folks, again, thanks to Leslie for those initial comments. So World Down Syndrome Day is marked every year on March the 21st, beginning in 2007. The 21st day of March was selected to signify the uniqueness of the triplication of the 21st chromosome, which actually causes Down syndrome. So every year, March the 21st, the world celebrates World Down Syndrome Day. And it's really about creating awareness about what Down syndrome is. And it has been acknowledged and observed by the United Nations since 2012. So really important to know that it has now gotten, worldwide recognition. And there are people all over the world today who will be celebrating and acknowledging this special occasion. So let's talk a little bit about, World Down Syndrome Day and just what Down syndrome is, because I think most of us, when we see an adult or children with it, they have very unique characteristics. So we kind of know that, okay, that person has Down syndrome, but we might not really know much more about the condition other than that. So first of all, people without genetic abnormalities have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and each pair is given a number 1 through 23. Now, when it comes to Down syndrome, people are born with 3 rather than 2 copies of chromosome 21. So hence the significance of the 21 number. And it is actually the most common form of intellectual disability in the world, which I thought was interesting. And it occurs in approximately 1 out of every 1,000 babies born alive. So, you mentioned the rough numbers of people here in the Cayman Islands that have it. And I, seen a few even in my daughter's daycare when she was at a couple daycare centers. There was 1 or 2 kids that had it, but they were integrating so well.
Yes.
It's interesting that when you have small children, sometimes if they notice that a child is differently able, they're going to ask you questions. And I must say that my daughter never asked questions about any of the Down syndrome kids, because I think the fact that they were always there, it was like, okay, they're just here with us, and it's kind of normalized. You know what I mean? So it wasn't something that she saw as like completely different. Yes, they were different than, some of the other kids, but nothing that she really mentioned. So let's talk about some of the health complications that are actually associated with Down syndrome. And of course, if any parent has had to deal with this, they will know that there's vision, height and weight, intellectual ability, skin disorders, and sleep apnea. And we do have some slides here that we're going to pull up on the screen as well. Let me just make sure that we've got the right ones. Right. So some of the health complications, folks, that children with Down syndrome will face: sleep apnea, heart defects, blood disorders, immune system issues, skin disorders, and then height, weight, vision is normally one that, you'll see them wearing their little glasses and so on. And then intellectual ability. So I suppose, Leslie, that it's very, very important to have the medical support around all of these potential health complications if you have a child with Down syndrome. So talk a little bit, if you can, about the significance of having the medical expertise in Ireland that can help parents who have children with Down syndrome to kind of navigate that.
Absolutely. Well, of course, having Shetty Hospital now, Health City, is amazing to have these facilities just right outside our doorstep, where before, individuals may have had to go off island for some of the heart procedures that need to be done at a very early age. And it's important that it's caught early. We do have an excellent medical community. Our pediatrician was on top of it. I mean, we're really grateful, of course, that we have, we live in a world with so much information shared freely. But I do know of individuals who've had different procedures done here and off island. And it is, it's traumatic. If you imagine handing your brand new baby over to somebody to open up their heart, and that can be a very, very emotional roller coaster. But it's just a blessing that we have Health City now to have those facilities right here, and they've been amazing. Of course, Dr. Benoit would have spoken more eloquently about the different types of procedures. There are a few different ones, and the technology has come so far. There are several options now where they may not have to necessarily go into the heart the way they used to. They can do it much more less traumatic for the organs.
And of course, folks, the theme for this particular year's World Down Syndrome Day is with us, not for us. Again, showing that people with disabilities have the right to be treated fairly and have the same opportunities as everyone else, working with others to improve their lives. I think that this is so important. And I want to share a little bit of a story, if I may, Leslie and others, about, people with Down syndrome and the amazing lives that they can live despite having all of these, potential complications. So many years ago, there was a young lady who was a Lighthouse student, and I decided to take her on a trip to Miami. She'd never traveled before. And at that time, I was kind of like working with her, trying to get her, a sight machine so she could start reading and doing other things other than kind of sitting coloring all day. And so I said to her parents, her grandparents, they must thought I was crazy. I was like, can I take her to Miami for a trip? I was going for business. I was setting up Micromatrix. So this would have been around 2000, early 2000s. And they were like, okay. You want to take her to Miami? And I said, yes. So we packed our bags. I know she was so excited. She's like, oh my God, I'm going to go to plane. Total excitement. She just graduated from Lighthouse School. So I was like, this is her graduation gift. We'll do this trip, this kind of girls trip. So we go to Miami, and lo and behold, one day we're in the mall and we're walking and we walking to someone who has Down syndrome. And so we have this amazing conversation with this young lady. I kind of had like my hair twisted in the front and then little like twists, whatever. And so she was so interested in my hair and she said, "Oh, I love your hair. And my aunt did that to her hair one time." And we had this full on conversation. And so when we were done and we said bye to the young lady, I said to the young lady that I was with from Cayman, I said, "Do you know that that young lady has a disability?" Because I don't want to call her name, but because the young lady from Cayman couldn't see that well, I wasn't sure that she appreciated that we were talking with someone with a disability. And she's like, "What do you mean?" Because she was so capable, spoke so eloquently, engaged in the conversation, just really wonderful. And so as an example of how, we shouldn't limit children with disabilities, we should get them out and about, they can hold jobs. She was in the mall with an adult, enjoying herself for the day, held a perfectly normal conversation with us. And I wanted to show this young lady that by comparison, because I do think that unfortunately in the Cayman context, especially 15, 20 years ago, there were so many limitations still in place on our differently abled young people in particular. And I said, that young lady actually has something called Down syndrome. And I tried to explain to her, kind of what Down syndrome was. And she was flabbergasted. She couldn't believe that we had spoken to someone who had Down syndrome. And she's like, "She did?" And I think it encouraged her in a way that, you don't have to be limited. You can do so much. Here's an example of a young lady who's obviously been really exposed to a lot. And that exposure has meant that, she can navigate this world, quite much like everybody else does. And so that was just such an amazing moment. And I'll never forget it because I think both of us appreciated how important it was, to acknowledge that people with disabilities don't have to be shunned away. They don't have to be locked away. They can be included in so many different things and they can have jobs and live, relatively normal lives.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So, we'll talk some more about the specifics of Down syndrome, but for the people who are listening, Leslie, who've never heard of Inclusion Cayman, can you tell us a little bit about what Inclusion Cayman is and what it is that you guys actually do?
Absolutely. So, Inclusion Cayman is an organization of volunteers and now paid staff, thanks to the support of our amazing community that donates. We have paid inclusion specialists who work to bring inclusion to different areas in our community. And our three main pillars are education, recreation, and employment. And it's just been really exciting to see the progress, especially over the last few years, since we really kind of had a laser focus on how do we bring this to our community. So, little backstory, I arrived to Cayman in the late 90s. Let's not add up the years there. But as a teacher, and we were just in the education world night and day from what we have today available. Let's just say that, the options for families of children with special needs. And in many cases, some parents would even have to leave the island. And Caymanian parents, and our CEO, Shan Harriman, will tell you the story that actually not that long ago, as a Caymanian, she left the island with her daughter Lexi because she just didn't feel like what was needed to support her daughter was available here. And, once you talk to her for 5 minutes, you can see the passion and what the energy she brings to her position because she's lived it. So we're very, very excited and proud of, as a board member, proud of the work that's being done and our staff that works so hard to bring inclusion to schools. We have a waiting list now of schools that are saying, okay, we can do this. We just need help. We want to do it, but help us. Where before we might have seen some closed doors going, oh, that's just too hard. We can never. And the main thing is that we just want parents to have a choice. We have great facilities across the island, and it just should be a choice whether you want that typical inclusive environment, a typical classroom, or you want to have a specialist school. That's fine, but you need to have a choice. And there's not a one size fits all. So we just want to make it available to everybody, that whatever's best for that individual is what is possible. And then the second pillar is our inclusion and recreation. So that means just all the different areas, like all of us enjoy sports, arts, music, all the things that we like to do, that there's inclusive support. And my kids have benefited from that. And just recently we joined Little League. For the first time, we're doing competitive sports, and Little League is a huge, supporter of bringing in students with special needs. And my son Jordan has just fit in so well, and it's just awesome to see, and we're so grateful for that support. So Little League is one, National Gallery, YMCA, Cayman Arts Foundation. There's so many. And then, of course, in informal ways, just as we raise awareness, people, it grows, it gains momentum, right? So more and more people are catching on to that and going, yeah, we can, this should be open to everybody. So it's been amazing to see. And then lastly, really exciting to share that we've got a lot of support and growing requests for support and employment for adults with special needs. And I have to say, we thought, okay, maybe 5-10 years down the road, that'll be something we can focus on. No, it's happening now. And we actually have a waiting list. I think it's 18 or so individuals looking for employment. And we just had our big fundraising breakfast last week, which was amazing. And we had Jared Miles, son of James Miles, shared so eloquently, just blew us away on stage in front of 500 people, about his, he just blew us out of the water. But about his job with PwC and what he does there and how excited he is to go to work every day. And just, he's like the model employee because he's ready to go the night before. He takes his job so seriously, the passion, the energy he brings, and it actually boosts morale for everyone. We hear that a lot from different organizations, like they make the workplace a better place to be, just because of their energy and enthusiasm. And I think, for all of us that don't have special needs, anyone who's really thoughtful about it, we would say, when you're around somebody that maybe has a disability, you can't help but go, there, but for the grace of God. I mean, who am I to grumble about, oh my gosh, somebody cut me off in traffic or something? I mean, we all have our things, but you know what I'm saying? It just helps us keep things in perspective. Exactly. So, and if I can share quickly, we've got a new initiative. I want to get this right. Inclusive Inspired Tours. So if someone would like to bring staff from Inclusion Cayman to their workplace, to their school, whatever it is, we will come and do what we call a tour. Just sit down with your staff or your organization and quickly walk through what it is we do, how you might bring inclusion to your workplace. You could do a lunch and learn during the week. It would be a fun thing to bring in. So the team there really has a nice presentation that's really well done, and they'll come and talk about how we might be able to assist your organization.
Wow. Well, I know Shamari is a little bit short on time this morning, so Leslie and I will continue your conversation. But Shamari, one specific question for you is, KK wants to know, does Health City take Vanguard insurance, and would doctors happen to be available to see kids on the weekends or as walk-in patients? So tell us a little bit about, generally how people can access the facilities at Health City.
Yeah, so Vanguard Insurance, I would have to check, but all local insurance companies we do accept. If it's an international insurance company, we just have to make some calls to see whether or not they have the coverage that would allow them to access medical services outside of whichever home country they would have gotten that insurance. And and we do take walk-ins on the weekends. It depends on what ailment and how old the child is, as to whether or not we can take. Obviously, we don't have our neonatal ward set up as yet, so we don't have pediatricians. But if it has to do with your heart, we have pediatric cardiologists, and we are able to deal with everything from a pediatric perspective once it has to do with your heart. Other areas we may not be able to help, but we also would be able to point you in the right direction as well.
All right. So just give them a call. KK is what I would suggest. They have people available to, respond to your email.
Info@healthcity.ky or 640-4040.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. There we go. So yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Bromfield, for taking the time to
Yeah,
come on the
Nice to
program.
see you. Thank
My
you.
apologies that I have to run early.
that's okay.
Dr. Benoit was supposed to hold up the back end, but I know you'll do a great job with Sandy.
Thanks so much, Shamari. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. All right, folks. So again, Leslie Bromfield is joining us from Inclusion Cayman. So if you have any questions about her organization and what they offer, please do give us a call. Or if you just want to say thank you, Leslie, and to your organization for the wonderful job you guys do, the telephone number 936-2626. You can feel free to give us a call. So we're celebrating today World Down Syndrome Day, which is all about awareness and inclusion for people suffering from this particular disorder. And, it has to do with a chromosomal arrangement that really just makes them different. And they do, of course, come with some specific health issues that we want to make sure that you're aware of. And, I think awareness and information is one thing that will set any parent, one step forward. Oops, I think that caller, not sure if they got disconnected there, but that will assist parents in being one step ahead in helping their children. So let's just look at a few more slides, and we do have a caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning, Leslie.
Morning. I know this voice.
Hi.
I just wanted to call and just kind of give Leslie some props because she would never give it to herself. Not only is she involved in Inclusion Cayman, but she does so much more. We also have a program at our church.
Oh.
And I would like to invite Leslie to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. Since you opened the door. We do. We have an inclusive component to our children's ministry that we started maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Again, it's all kind of a blur. And I co-lead that with Mrs. Darber Bodden and then our children's minister, Carla Bragani, and just came out of a need to, to fill support for parents on Sunday mornings for so many people, even if they have help during the week. On Sundays, Saturdays, they may not have that help. And to get to church, if they would like to, go to church and have that time to worship and just reset, wasn't maybe an option, because for some people, having a child with special needs can be like trying to get to church with a newborn. If you've ever done that, the struggle is real. And some mornings you just kind of go, you know what, man, it's not worth it. Let's just stay home. So really, really honored and privileged to be a part of that. And I have to say, just thank you to Pastor Randy Von Cannell for his leadership there, because he's the one really that said, he met somebody, said, we got to have some support for families with special needs. And it wasn't that hard. Honestly, when you start to just break it down into steps, and what we offer is on Sunday mornings for children up to ages 11. We have a special area that is kind of a quiet space if children need that. Wasn't a lot of money. It's just, something that we just kind of designated and bought some IKEA furniture and some crash pads and said, we recognize some kids may need this or prefer this. But wherever possible, our goal is to get the kids with special needs with everybody else. And we have an amazing team of volunteers who have committed, and every week come and act as buddies, support buddies, and just are there. And it's just so natural. Of course, we've evolved and we've sought lots of training and mentoring from other churches who've done this really well. Yes. And now it's just part of what we do. And that's kind of the goal. And I would say the same for Inclusion Cayman. We're one of those organizations that would say our goal is to work ourselves out of a job, really. Like, we'd love to not exist in 10, 15, 20 years. Like, there may always
be a need, for sure. Yeah.
Well, exactly. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it would be great to be able to say this is just part of how we roll as a community. And it is in many ways, but sometimes it just needs that little bit of extra, focus and attention. Obviously, there's some things we have to consider, safety and that kind of stuff. So we put those things in place to make sure it's a happy, safe place for everybody.
All right. We do have a caller who's on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. I just wanted to say that I'm glad to hear all of the work that's being done, because I'm a Caymanian who unfortunately had to leave in order for my
Mm.
children to get the assistance that they needed. I've got
Mm.
2 kids, both of them have autism. My son is also dyslexic, and um, 6.5 years ago, I had to leave Cayman because I was being told that my daughter was dumb and she wasn't learning, and I tried everything to get her the help that she needed in Cayman, and it was like pulling teeth. I wasn't being listened to. I wasn't being given any assistance from the education department, and I just felt like it was a losing game. So I'm so glad to hear of all of what you're doing, because I know that this is going to help so many parents, or is helping so many parents, because I knew how frustrating and how disheartening it was when I was looking help 8 years ago for my daughter. At the time, it was my daughter because she was the oldest. I have to say though that um, for me, the option to leave was available to me. There are some parents, Caymanians, who don't have the financial means to do what I did.
Right.
But
That's right.
I'm glad that there is other options now available to parents. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all the
Mm.
work that you're doing. Even though I'm no longer in Cayman, I
Yes.
am glad to hear this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you
I
so much,
really
caller.
appreciate it. So
Yeah.
Well,
thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Hang up
I'm
and
so
bye.
sorry that was your experience too. And that, that is just the perfect example of what drives us, because that's not right. That shouldn't be, and I am grateful to say our leadership is waking up to this. Government is waking up to this. We were able to present in caucus this past year, 2022, about these needs, and really, connected with some of our leaders that really do take it to heart. And I know they want to do more. It's a
Yes.
marathon, right? It's not a sprint. Rome wasn't built in a day. We know that. We've come far, but we have so far to go still. And it shouldn't be a situation in this day where we have so much support available in technology and education. We know so much more. There's no reason why we can't provide what everybody needs to thrive in our wonderful community.
Absolutely. 943 folks, 2626 is the telephone number. If you'd like to call in and say hi to Leslie, please do. So some additional issues that children with Down syndrome do face is heart defects, which is quite serious. So AVSD, I don't know if I should try the full name. It's
Yeah.
atrioventricular septal defect, also known as AVSD, and it's the most frequently diagnosed congenital heart condition in children with Down syndrome, and it's characterized by holes between either the upper or lower chambers of the heart, the atria, and the ventricles, and it can be diagnosed during pregnancy using ultrasound, but may not actually be evident until a child is a few months to even a few years old. So it does require surgery to repair. And again, parents, if you have a child with Down syndrome and it's evident during the pregnancy, there will be things that you will want to do in terms of just educating yourself and finding available resources, which include medical professionals like Dr. Benoit and others at Health City Cayman Islands who can offer you the support that you undoubtedly will need. So there's another heart defect known as PDA, which is patent ductus arteriosus. I hope I got that one right.
Good job. Yeah.
And it occurs when a channel called the ductus arteriosus that connects a fetus's heart and lungs in vitro does not close after birth. And again, frequently diagnosed after birth. And when symptoms exist, they include tiredness, sweating, quick or heavy breathing, disinterest in eating, and not gaining weight as expected in a growing child. And there are different treatment options available. So folks, we always encourage you to sit down with the professionals who will be able to advise you of what treatment options are available. And I must say that things have improved significantly over the years. We know that, world-class facilities like Health City Cayman Islands will have the latest and the greatest available technology, all the expertise in terms of the medical professionals right at your fingertips who, have dealt with these disabilities from all over the world And so they have a wealth of experience to really bring to the table.
Well said.
Yes. So a couple more in the category of health defects. And, I think really it's about trying to improve the quality of life by having a good support system around you. And that includes organizations like Inclusion Cayman, social support organizations, community support organizations, as well as the medical support that we were just talking about. And I love the concept of inclusion for anyone with a disability, Leslie, because that being the ultimate goal, I think, is so important. And yesterday, later on in the program, I'm going to be talking about my tour of John Gray High School yesterday, which I'm really, really excited about. But they have an inclusion unit. Unit, folks. Amazing.
Excellent.
That was the best part of the tour for me, to actually learn about the inclusion unit, what it is that they're doing. Because again, your children may have a disability, they may be differently abled, but we don't want them to have to go through their entire lives feeling like they're, that different, and that they can't ever have the same friends as their siblings or other people, other kids in the community, or they can't hold a job, or, I think there's no need to limit them anymore. I think the limit is all in your head, really. And so if we remove a lot of those restrictions, there's a lot that can be done.
Agreed. Yep.
So folks, we have a few more minutes here with Leslie. So if you wish to call in, please, again, feel free to do so. We won't get too technical because, of course, Dr. Benoit was going to offer that assistance to us. But what I would say is that, they're very, very well versed. Apparently, 50% of all infants with Down syndrome will have some sort of a heart condition, compared to approximately 1% of typical infants. So once again, that is something specific to Down syndrome babies that parents will have to deal with. And, different disabilities will have different things that are unique to them. So that's one unique feature, that about half of Down syndrome babies will actually have some sort of a heart defect.
One of the other major things, if I could just share, low muscle tone is a pretty common feature. So, if your children have a friend with Down syndrome, just be aware that it doesn't mean my son does everything that every other child does. One thing we've had to watch, that we've had really good support about from doctors and everyone checking in, is a potential neck instability. It's unique to people with Down syndrome, again, because of the low muscle tone. There's a very specific vertebrae, and I can't remember all the details. I just know that, we don't allow him to do bouncy castles or trampolines, or we're not going to be playing rugby, and there's some markers as well, different age markers, where that can potentially be more of an issue. So, and there's not really a test for it. They used to do a test, but it wasn't conclusive.
Right.
So they stopped doing that because it wasn't even helpful. Just the whole idea is not to do anything that's a high impact sport.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good to know. All right. So, of course, early intervention is very, very important. The earlier kind of what's going on with the child, the more you can seek out treatment options and the support that you're going to need, and really try to give them the best life possible. I've often shared in this program that my daughter was a preemie baby. She came at 8 months. She was a month early. And we were looking for something. We're like, okay, why was she early? Why was she growing kind of slow? And, the first couple of days in the hospital, I remember Dr. Watkins said to me, we don't actually see anything. So now this is a waiting game, because literally we could be looking for a needle in the haystack. We just don't know. And so, she's done fine in all of her tests, sight tests, hearing tests, whatever. It looks like she's just petite, like she's super small. We can't explain why she wasn't growing very well in vitro, but let's just sit back and watch and see what happens now. And, they stopped testing. They're like, let's not test for anything because there's nothing obvious that we can see. And so, we just sat back and waited, and, lo and behold, she's perfectly fine. She's just really, really tiny. So, but, as someone who was sort of in that space of potentially having to have that concern, I do remember, thinking about what would life be in Cayman with a special needs child. Would I move back to the States? Would my husband and I move to Jamaica? There were all these thoughts during the pregnancy that went through your mind about the appropriate level of support that is here. So it's wonderful to see groups like Inclusion Cayman growing and expanding their network and the services that they have available, because for me, that's always the number one concern for any parent, is to make sure you're giving your child the best available care, and not just medical care, but everything else that comes with that. So tell us, Leslie, what are some of the struggles that people with disabilities still face in 2023 here in the Cayman Islands?
Well, I think what we've touched on, segregation at times and not by choice, not having the support that parents feel their child needs, and having to seek that off island, which again, as a Caymanian, that's just not right. Yes, we're a small community, but we're also an amazing country with so many resources. And I tell people we're kind of the best of both worlds, right? We're like a little town where it doesn't take long to get to know a lot of people, but then we're also a country. We have all these opportunities and people from all over the world that come here to offer their services, and we have a lot to attract them. So we've got our 5-star hotels and restaurants and tourism and finance industry. There's no reason why we can't have 5-star support for our children and adults with special needs. So again, it's exciting to see what's happening. I think just helping parents, have that hope to see that there is support. There are so many people in our community that do genuinely want to connect and help, and it doesn't take long if you take that step. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have some bad experiences too. So I think the struggle is just for parents, not giving up, building that network of support and reaching out. And that, to be honest, that's probably what supports me, is helping others and just, connecting with others and looking where in my small way, I can fit in and just help. I like to connect people. I'm a connector. So, connecting people with each other and support that maybe they didn't realize was there before, and awareness. So yeah, I think it's a different type of journey that we always say Jordan is the gift we never knew we wanted, but man, what an incredible journey it's been so far. And we just can't wait to see what the future holds for him. So I would say if anyone wants to stay in touch with Inclusion Cayman, we have an email address, info@inclusioncayman.ky, and our website, inclusioncayman.ky. You can go there and sign up for our newsletter and receive constant updates and communication about what's happening. Again, our employment initiative is really taking off. And if you're a business looking to employ somebody with special needs, we really have a fine-tuned system formula for integrating somebody with special needs into your business, matching that business need with an individual that can truly fill that role. It's not just a what do you call it, shallow placement, but it needs to be purposeful for both parties. And the staff of Inclusion Cayman go in and make sure that it's a smooth transition, and they provide the support. They'll train the organization staff and make sure that everybody's in a good place before they slowly kind of fade into the background. So it's not okay, here you go and good luck. You get a lot of support, which is amazing. So I hope that gives hope to especially parents with adults, because I think that's been a challenge for a long time. And we've had great initiatives that have tried to create that. And it just, it's been a constant need, that we have purpose for our adults with special needs. And that's, everybody wants to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning. So it is there.
Absolutely. And Leslie, can I tell you that when UCCI launched their first Resembed program, they had a young lady there by the name of Kristen, and she's a special needs young lady. And I was interviewing her and talking to her about her participation in the program. And I guess maybe I should be proud to say that when I was interviewing her, I didn't even know that she was special needs.
Wow.
Like, I was talking to her and I didn't know it. And then afterwards they were saying, oh yeah, we have a special needs young lady, and that's why there's a representative here from the Sunrise Center, and then her mom is here. And I was like, well, who is she? And they're like, you were just talking to her. So just truly, truly amazing. We've got someone who's saying, good morning. I worked with a special needs young person at a previous workplace. Trust me, she had more sense than the so-called normal people around me. Very intelligent, very sensible. What I find is that they tend to be shy and avoid interactions, but once they are approached and comfortable, they open up and are just wonderful people to work with. We have
Amazing.
Jim, who has a comment. He says those with Down syndrome come in different levels of special needs. One of my nephews, has Downs, and he's absolutely one of the most beautiful human beings. He loves truly unconditional. Eddie is now in his early 30s and has accomplished many things in his life thus far. He graduated from regular school, worked at public supermarket, worked on a horse ranch. Wow. And is now farming.
Wow.
Loving
Love
every
it.
moment of it. That's amazing. He's also an incredible artist, and anything with straight lines are perfections. And unfortunately, Jim, the rest of the comment got cut off. But he said many are misunderstood. So Luis, yes, looks like you're just joining the conversation. Inclusion Cayman is a support group for parents with special kids. So you can reach out. Just give us the contact information again, Leslie, for how people can find you. And I'm sure you're on social media as well.
Sure, we are definitely Instagram, Facebook. Inclusioncayman.ky is the website, and you can email info@inclusioncayman.ky for more information.
All right, so Luis, that should answer that question for you. Lions Club of Tropical Gardens says the UCCI Omega Leos have a Rock Your Sock fundraiser today. All funds to Inclusion Cayman.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing. And Sandra, can I just shout out to everyone who's been doing Rock Your Socks? We started it a few years ago, as a formal campaign, and COVID, all that kind of derailed, the momentum we had. And of course, as a group, we all had our things going on. So incredibly, it kind of just took on a life of its own, though. We really haven't had a formalized promotion or a campaign of it the last couple of years, but organizations across the island, businesses, schools have still done it and still collecting money. My children's school, Village Montessori, is doing a fundraiser today, and I mean, it's kind of funny. Here I am, the mom with the kid with Down syndrome, and I see it on the school calendar. I'm like, oh, that's right, we got Rock Your Socks the 21st. But it's just what they do now. So, and if organizations do want to make it a fundraiser, of course, we won't say no to funds. So Inclusion Cayman, very easy to give online, or you can drop off a check or whatever you have there, do an online transfer, reach out to the office there for information on that. But we just love that today, and you're going to see what we call our sock selfies posted. If you want to do a sock selfie, hashtag Inclusion Cayman or RYSC, Rock Your Socks Cayman. And it's so encouraging to see people walking around with these socks or see the selfies. And I think it just speaks to, again, just the wonderful community that we are in the Cayman Islands, even if it's not in support of just someone with Down syndrome, but people with special needs. And when you see those out, can you imagine as a parent seeing somebody walk in the grocery store with those crazy socks on? That just boosts your morale and just says, people really do care. And that's, again, what makes us just a special community.
Yes. And for those of you who are listening, what's Rock the Socks? So basically, again, as part of the celebration of World Down Syndrome Day, people wear brightly colored mismatched socks today to really show their support for the Down syndrome community. So, if you already left work and you're wearing normal socks, go and tell somebody to bring you another pair. So mix it up. Wear crazy socks today. Post them on social media and just share the support. So thank you very much to the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens. Again, they mentioned that the UCCI Omega Leos are going to have a Rock Your Sock fundraiser, and all funds are going to be going to Inclusion Cayman. So Lions Club, can you tell us how people can donate to the fundraiser today? Maybe share some more details, and we will put that up on social media for you guys as well. So good morning to Miss Romelia. She's here saying, good morning, honey child. So good to see you, Miss Romelia. Thank you very, very much. All right. So folks, again, the conversation today has been, in relation to World Down Syndrome Day, which again is every March the 21st. It's a day to celebrate individuals with Down syndrome and to really just bring about more awareness. If you are a parent or even, some other family member who has a person in your life who has Down syndrome and they're not living to their full potential, Please don't allow that to happen. That's the greatest travesty, in my opinion. So reach out to groups. There's Inclusion Cayman, who's here to offer support. There's medical support from the professionals at Health City. If you feel like they need additional, medical support as well, you can reach out to Dr. Benoit and his team to really just make their lives as full and amazing as possible, because that should be the goal for everybody, to live their best lives.
That's right. Thank you so much for highlighting this today, Sandra. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie.
Thank
So Leslie Bromfield again with Inclusion Cayman. Thanks, Leslie, and have a fantastic day.
Thanks, you too. Bye. Thank you.
All right, folks. So that has been another segment of Rundown Tuesdays with Health City. They're here every single Tuesday. You can tune in and get all of the latest information from Health City. One thing I like about them is they're not just here to talk about themselves, but they give NPOs, nonprofits such as Inclusion Cayman and Jasmine and others the opportunity to come on board using their time slot and talk about their wonderful organizations and what they have going on in the community of NPOs. And, they just highlight, these amazing organizations that otherwise don't always get the recognition and appreciation that they should get. And you guys have to know, the more you know about these organizations and what they have available, the more that you can get involved as well. So please contact Inclusion Cayman today for more information. So listen, we've got let's take a quick commercial break. But I'm so excited this morning to tell you guys about my tour yesterday of John Gray High School. So stay tuned for that. We've got a couple other things coming up by way of a discussion this morning as well.
Crichton Properties is one of Cayman's most trusted real estate companies for over 50 years. We offer a diverse selection of property listings and help our clients navigate the world of buying or selling their properties with confidence. Crichton is a name you can trust with our excellent customer service and family-friendly touch. Contact us today to list your home, land, or condo for sale by calling 949-5250 or email info@crichtonproperties.com. Crichton Properties.
I am Richard Hugh, President and CEO of CUC. Our focus has always been on you, our customers. Times are changing, and so are your expectations. We are listening to our employees and the people of the Cayman Islands to find new opportunities that can improve your experience. We are working every day to provide you with a safe and reliable electricity service. You are at the core of everything that we do. We are exploring and adopting new technologies and sources of energy which will benefit you as we become more reliable and more efficient, which will mean lower energy costs. We are working to improve our energy management tools, offer new products and services, and provide 24/7 customer support. Our new vision, empowering Cayman to be a global leader, is building momentum towards a better future for our islands.
The department was formed in March 2021, and the creation of this department has allowed the company to centralize the reporting of environmental, social, and governance initiatives. We've published a sustainability report. I am very proud to be the manager of this department. We are setting the standard here in Cayman, in the Caribbean. We are trying our best to ensure that we are not only meeting environmental, social, and governance, but overall that we are a company that employees would want to come to work for, and that the community in general will feel proud that it is the utility company.
Ocean Ridge Heights offers an amazing opportunity to own a piece of land in idyllic Cayman Brac, right on the bluff, starting from $80,000. Located in a quiet residential area with high elevation, these lots are ideal for a future home or investment property and are sure to go fast. Cayman Brac offers a laid-back lifestyle, amazing pristine diving, limestone caves, diverse flora, along with amazing wildlife. Inquire about the owner financing options so that you can secure your piece of paradise today. With only a few lots remaining, these are sure to go before you know it. Contact Crichton Properties today on 345-949-5250 or info@crichtonproperties.com.
Are you tired of overpaying for TV services? Can't figure out VPNs? Constantly missing your favorite TV shows? And no access to the good stuff on streaming services? The frustration is real, but it doesn't have to be. Contact Roque, Cayman's streaming pros. We'll put you back in the driver's seat in front of your TV. Call, WhatsApp, or message Roque today on 926-1213. Roque is not a TV service provider. Terms and conditions apply.
In the mornings, no one wants to miss listening to the Cold Hard Truth or reading CMR. Cayman's #1 news platform has made your morning commute fun again. Pass this time with the Cold Hard Truth on weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Talk radio that's engaging, entertaining, and enlightening. But be careful. Some mornings it's so hot, you might run into a bit of trouble.
All right, folks, welcome back. Do not run into any trouble this morning, please. Watch where you're going. Don't be staring at the phone. Put it on hands-free, and you can still enjoy and listen to the program. Or hopefully you've got a radio in your car, and you can enjoy it that way as well. All right, so yes, I'm going to talk about that. That's coming up. All right, folks. So we're going to be talking here about the opening of the John Gray High School yesterday. Good morning to Mr. Amelia.
Good morning, honey child. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Gracias a Dios. Estoy bien también.
Bueno, dime. In English,
we gotta keep up this. We gotta keep this chat going.
I know. I'm like, talk to me in English now, so that everybody can understand what's going on. All this time, I did not know that Miss Romelia spoke Espanol.
Claro que sí.
Yes, sir.
My honey child, I want to bring awareness that Cayman Kind Action Committee we have put out a survey out there to rate our Royal Cayman Islands Police Services. Now, this has come about because of the amount of complaints that we have been getting, and we ourselves have been experiencing, and it seems as if we're not getting anywhere. Our complaints seems to be falling on deaf ears. So we have decided to do a survey, and it's out there. It's on my Facebook page. It's also on Cayman Kind Action Committee Facebook page, and we're asking the public to fill it out, to give us your feedback. So and if the feedback is that we receive, we will take it to higher ups, to the DG, to the governor, to say, hey, look, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Services have failed, and we need to see how we can fix this, because I believe if something is broken, it needs to be fixed. So I am just asking everyone to, because I'm understanding that people are saying, oh, they don't know who the survey is from, if it's the police. No, it's not from the police. Okay. It is Cayman Kind Action Committee who is asking you all to please give us your feedback, honest feedback, and it's set up that no one will know who is filling out the survey. That is all blocked. So please feel free and participate in that said survey.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias, amor.
Okay, muchas gracias.
Okay.
All right, folks. She's gonna make sure I practice my Espanol, honey child. Anthony says wonderful story and great cause. Good morning to Miss Morna. Good morning to Damaris. So listen, folks. If you have children that attend the John Gray High School here in the Cayman Islands, they had an absolutely proud moment yesterday where they unveiled and did the official opening of the school, and we were able to tour the school. Let me tell y'all, I was honestly blown away. And I don't say that lightly, because I've seen a lot of schools in my day, and I've seen a lot of facilities. And I think that John Gray High School, without fear of contradiction, has the best facility on island. I mean, it's amazing. So I was blown away. Everything. You know, about a week ago, someone had the opportunity to tour the facility, and they actually called me and they said, Sandy, you have got to see the new John Gray High School. They were like, this high school is this is world class, without a doubt. And I said, really? And they said, yes. No private institution in the Cayman Islands can compare to what is available at John Gray. And so I think having this amazing facility is a step in the right direction. All of the students at John Gray should now have a degree of pride that they are in an environment that offers the best of everything. And so that pride now has to translate over into how they're dressing, their behavior. It has to translate into their grades. I mean, you take pride in your appearance, in your environment. You have all of these available resources, good teachers available to you. The support system has got to be there, obviously, but you know, there's really no excuse. Our young people have been handed an amazing facility on a gold platter, quite frankly, not even a silver platter. Not platinum is supposed to be better than gold. Well, platinum platter. You know, it is just that amazing. So we've got some footage. I'm going to show you guys this morning, the footage there at John Gray High School. They opened with the official ceremony, and we'll grab all of that and schedule it on social media so you guys can watch that probably this evening. You can tune in for that. But I just did more impromptu recording, and so I'm going to show you guys some of that now so that you can see different aspects of the facility. Folks, I've been to all sorts of schools in my lifetime. You know, I think they mentioned about 1,200 students. My graduating class at my university, at my high school, my apologies, back in the day, back in 1991, was like 1,200 students. We had, you know, it's school in Tampa. And, you know, this school, it beats what I had back in my day. It even beats a lot of what was available at USF. Like, I'm looking at some of the labs and stuff, and I'm like, whoa. So let's have a look.
He said, I've got some words I need to speak, and he's a future Premier of Cayman Islands.
So this young man is actually speaking, and he was an amazing, you know, speaker. And you'll see a bit later on in my little bit of the video why what he had to say was so amazing. Because apparently he fell into the category of differently abled. And through inclusion programs, you know, he's just been able to get up and give this speech, which I thought was amazing. He just blew me away yesterday. Actually, let me see if I can, give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can get a cleaner copy of what he had to say, because he had everyone, and I do mean everyone, up in, I mean, the children were so proud of him. They were clapping. They were just like national pride, school pride, community pride. It was all on display yesterday at John Gray. It was undoubtedly a proud moment for teachers, for the education department, the education services department, for the Ministry of Education, and of course for this government who actually has seen it through to completion. Now, someone made the observation, and I also, you know, was obviously there and made the observation for myself yesterday. This person this morning says, hi, good morning. Here is a tip for you. It wasn't much of a tip because I noticed it from yesterday. You notice that no one from PPM was at the John Gray High School grand opening yesterday. Not surprised, but one would have thought that all, particularly the majority, whose parents are in their constituents. Well, I learned that they have requested a private tour today at 2:30. Wow, really? This is ridiculous on all politicians. You know, you guys already know how I feel about most of the members of the PPM. They have always had this energy about them. And as a founding member of the People's Progressive Movement, I must say that I'm very, very disappointed, because that was never, ever in a million years what the progressives was supposed to be about. We were supposed to be about inclusion of everyone, Billy Adams, he's card holding PPM member #1. He was the first person to sign up. We were there in the trenches, folks, and we wanted it to be different. The vision for the progressives movement, even the name, I was instrumental in sitting there picking names and trying to decide what we're going to call this new political group. It was all about inclusion of everyone. No one was going to be excluded. Fighting for Caymanians and not giving our birthright away. So, really it came out of the 2003 status grants that happened under the UDP and leadership of Makiva Bush. We were all on the same page that this is the kind of thing that should never, ever, ever happen in the Cayman Islands. But, it was men and women, average people, some business owners, some, rich people, poor people, people in between, making up this party. And I have felt that throughout the years, the progressives, driven by personalities, by political leadership and personalities, has really gone in a very different direction. And it saddens me. That's why I no longer can really ride for that party because of the changes that have happened. They think they're somebody special, honey child, and they ain't nobody special. They're just like the rest of us. But to not show up yesterday, and let me say this, although she's not a PPM member, my hat's off to former Minister of Education, Tara Rivers. She was in attendance yesterday, so good on her. She came to see this glorious crowning moment. But yeah, I'm disappointed. I don't even know what to say about the PPM. They disappoint me on a regular basis, honey chill. Not surprised. I'm not surprised one bit because I have seen their MO. And one thing about them is they are consistent in what they do. They consistently disappoint. They consistently believe they're elitists and consistently all need to be knighted and set themselves apart. Hey, anywho, not surprised. But Tara Rivers was there, so good for her. So let me show you guys a bit of, I'm going to show you my video and then I want to show you this one as well. So this young man, first of all, I also want to congratulate the Minister of Education. This was really, a glorious moment for her as well. I know a lot of people kind of feel a way about her sometimes, that her performance is less than, they're happy with, let me put it that way. And so a lot of times I get those comments from parents, like they feel like she needs to step it up. And a lot of people did not want her to get the Ministry of Education again. They're like, oh God, please give it to somebody else. But you know what? You have to give credit where credit is due. And one thing I must say about Juliana O'Connor Connolly, this woman has the gift. She has an eloquence and a gift of delivery of a speech. She can talk, honey chill. Maybe it's the legal training. Maybe it's a natural gift, whatever. But she can get up and it's heartfelt, like you really feel like she touches you somewhere deep in the middle of your heart. And she certainly delivered that yesterday. She was not, I was not disappointed. And I think generally speaking, the people are not disappointed. So I'm going to let you guys listen to her speech and then we'll hear this young man. And then I'm going to show you guys some of the footage that I captured of the facility. And let me just say to our young people, you guys are so amazing. Big shout out to everybody at John Gray. I'm going to do a live stream a little bit later on this afternoon when I know that they're all probably at home or they're out of school after 3:00 and they're all watching, to give them a big shout out because I was really impressed with them. And all of them knew who I was. And each look like they keep up with a little bit of sus and news. And we were doing a bunch of selfies. And they were like, come over here. They were so, like, literally, I went to each little section of the stadium, and there was just an uproar. I was trying to keep them calm. And I was like, don't make too much noise. I don't want to get kicked out of your little auditorium. But they were so happy, like, oh my God, Mall Road. And we did a bunch of selfies and pictures. So I'm going to post that up later on so that they can see themselves and enjoy all of it. Someone is commenting about the situation with progressives. They say PPM was always about power and not the people. Shame on them. And then they said something else that we cannot put on radio because it's not PG. All right. So listen up now to this segment with Madam Juliana O'Connor, the Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly. She even had the music, honey child, to introduce herself. That's with her. Yes, sir. She know a thing or two about the Yes, honey child.
For your mercy never
Oh, the
fails
music
me.
was setting the tone.
All
Uh-huh.
my days, I've
Here it
been
is.
held in your hand.
Yes.
From the moment that I wake
And by the way, for those of you who missed the memo, it took like 15 years to complete this school. Like legit, your child was born and out of high school before this school finally. I'm gonna call this government, the PAC government, I'm gonna call them the finishers, because they can finish everything that progressives never got to deliver on. Yeah. Uh-huh.
oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Love that song, by the way.
'Cause all my life you have been faithful.
This is just a song that gives you the good warm feeling on the inside, right?
Good morning, John Gray. This day has been a long time coming, but the goodness of God is fathomless. His mercies endureth to all generations. Protocol has been so eloquently articulated by our John Gray students this morning, and let's just let them know how proud we are of them for their good participation. Thank you. As a bit of housekeeping, I want to also thank Ms. Stacy, our PR manager, for the way that she's worked and delivered time and time again, and each time it does herself. Thank you, Stacy and team. There will be a vote of thanks at the end, but I want to steal a little bit of that to thank especially my project manager, Wayne, the Scottish guy that made sure we came within that budget and on time, Clive Baker, who hasn't yet had time to take a breath, and I'm taking him out to the BRAC for the new BRAC High School now that we've completed this one. And also Tommy, who is no longer with us, but also played an integral role with seeing this become a reality today. The Public Works, you all know who you are. Mark Ray, Mr. Tanya, Saku, my friend Tara, all of my colleagues, my wonderful colleagues and friends, past government and this government, who provided the support time and time again, who never got tired for the big axe, and it was a big axe. And of course, John Clark. We couldn't have done it without an amazing leader like you, Ms. Forbes, and other deputies that you have, and everybody who bought into the concept. And so, Stacey, I also want to thank you for once again faithfully working on my speech, which would have said the normal things, how we got here, what we are providing, which you'll see when you tour, and you have permission to go and release that as soon as this is finished so that they can hear the real technical aspect. As I do in any aspect of my life, I pray. And when things become complex and challenging, I fast. Probably need that more than once a week, but I do. And so I did that this morning again. Yesterday, a very freak incident happened as I was getting my grandchildren ready for Sunday school and church. I had bought my youngest grandson a little suit. You know how us Caribbean people, when you go away, you have to bring back home something for everybody and the nanny. And so he was anxious and delighted to put on something new. So as I dressed him, it seemed just a little bit too big. But I thought, well, you know, once I'm finished dressing, I could just do as women do, Out of necessity, we make many inventions. Just get a good little pin and stick it on the side. It would take him to church and he would look smashing as he likes to look in the mirror and see how he looks. He's not 3 yet, but he already got that carbine bite into him. And so I went ahead, he went out, got a toy, and then he came back in. He speaks a little bit of Spanish, so he refers to me not as granny, but as abuela. You'll soon figure out where I'm going with this, I hope. And he came in and he said, abuela, and when I looked, the waist was down by his knees, and the poor little fella could hardly walk, and I thought, no, this is way too big for Manny. And so I bent down to try to fix it, and as I did, he lost his balance, and the little iron toy that he had in his hand made a collision with my eye. So I'm not Ray Charles, I'm not trying to be cute this morning, but I did get a pretty nasty knock, which landed me in ER once I arrived last night and left about 11:30, and I was like, God, I trust you, but the timing, not really good. You know, I looked forward with such eager anticipation, John, to be here this morning to celebrate with you and your staff, my team, the students, the entire Cayman Islands. And I was quickly chastised with two things. You have two eyes and only one was allowed to get hit. So you have one left. So I immediately remembered, in all things give God thanks. Easier said than done, but I did give God thanks and I did go to church. And then I was also reminded that without a test, you don't have a testimony. So what Satan meant for bad, I could take my pride and my ego and said, oh, la, 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 become part of that ever-increasing cynical group within our various jurisdictions. But I said, no, I will take what happened yesterday to me to speak to you and the listening public this morning with a few words. The goodness of God is fathomless. His mercies endure to all generations. And so I got my daughter to come down with me last night to drive, because the eye that wasn't hit was the eye that I don't see out good unless I have my glasses. But it forced me to see the world in a different perspective in the last 24 hours. It reminded me that where there is no vision, our people will perish. And I'm so grateful for the wonderful privilege of being a formidable part of a government that has a vision, so that you, the children, you, our beloved Cayman Islanders and residents alike, will not have the option to perish. There will be times when we have to rest if we must. But John Gray, we are not going to quit. And so I will be looking like an eagle at the results, because we, past government and this government, have provided you now with practically everything you need to succeed. It's now up to you. Knock it out of the park when the next results come in, so that we can move from being the good school you are to the excellent school. That is what we're looking for, and that is what we're confident that you can do. And then so I sent Kim out this morning hunting after about 3 different places to find me these Ray Charles glasses because my regular glasses couldn't get on. And I thought, oh my goodness, by the time this is finished, Governor, there'll probably be a headline that somebody struck Julianne in the eye, or you know how it goes, and it grows and it grows. So I thought, you know what? That's what I'll do. Yes, I will wear them, because I needed to keep the sun out of it. but they that are humble before the Lord, it's those that God will use as a conduit. So John Gray, even though now you have the best high school in the whole world, as far as I'm concerned, certainly in the region and in Cayman, keep yourselves humble. Keep yourselves obedient, because it's the obedient who inherits the good of the land. And if you're a woman and you're here today, you will know how much it's going to take for me to do this.
And folks, she took off her glasses. It's theatrical, but I like it. Go on through, Sister Juliana. Now y'all can see the bruised eye.
Sometimes,
Yes, honey.
you see, what you see isn't always what obtains. Had I not taken
Oh my gosh, you gotta see her bruised eye. My goodness. Poor Juliana. I mean, that toy looked like that landed right, boink, right over that eye, right over that left eye, honey chill. But you know, yes, she's still coming along, coming to come.
Some of you may have already formulated in your minds why I'm wearing this.
Wow.
Who does she think she is? Does she know she's inside? Can she not acclimatize to the environment? Without really knowing what's the cause. What does that have to do with education?
So I'm gonna fast forward through a little bit because I want to get to the young man. Then they did do a wonderful presentation to the governor, presenting him. Of course, this will be one of his last official engagements, and he did do some remarks and stuff as well as the premier. And they presented him with this beautiful
Governor, Mr. Martin Roper,
painting.
Another surprise, another compass headline, perhaps. So join me at the stage.
Mine.
And
I
I'll
don't
also
know-
invite.
I don't know what she's mentioning that for, like anybody reading that. But anyway, I think that was her attempt to be a little bit shady, but that's okay, Sister Juliana. We're not paying that part no mind. So he was presented with this beautiful turtle that was actually done by one of the students. This painting, gorgeous, I must say.
My chief officer to join me, Mrs. Monteith, acting chief officer, the honorable premier, and the DG, and Mr. Clark. We're a team. We cannot do it together. What did Ruben Kipling say? No man is an island. We work together. And so, on behalf of the John Gray High School governor, we wish to present you what Columbus came and found, and he called it Las Tortugas, a turtle that was painted by an artist here, student at the John Gray High School. So when you look at your walls,
Really?
When you look at your walls in England, you would not be just reminded with all the colors and the diversity of the many nationalities here within Cayman that you've met and you had an opportunity to be the captain of. But you'd also remember that the turtle perhaps is one of the slowest creatures, but he did beat the hare in the story. So wait for a while with your lovely wife, but touch her once and again and say, Cayman, I call me home. God bless you.
All right, so let's move forward to this young man. This was the highlight.
Miss Stacey Ann had this planning down to an.
This was the highlight of the official part of the ceremony. So please get your second cup of coffee, your second cup of Milo, cocoa, or tea, and listen to this beautiful young man.
Hey, Jaron, let's go. So as Minister said, Miss Stacey Ann had this planning down to an absolute T, and then Jerry knocked on my door this morning and made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He said, I've got some words I need to speak, and he is a future Premier of the Cayman Islands, so...
Good morning, my fellow students, staff, and honored guests. It is my distinct honor to have you all present today for the new John Gray High School's opening. It is with deep gratitude that I thank my good friend, Minister O'Connor Connolly, the Minister for Education, Premier Panton, the Ministry of Education, and his government for investing in this phenomenal project that has been such a success. And I thank you on behalf of my fellow students and the John Gray High School staff. Additionally, I would like to give a big thank you to my wonderful principal, Mr. Clark, for working diligently on getting this facility built. At this time, I would like to share a short story about my experience at John Gray. When I first attended John Gray High School in year 7, I was very nervous because I heard about all of the negative things in the community about John Gray, which is false. John Gray is a fantastic school, and this is the best school in the entire Cayman Islands. I am well known for my ambition to be a future politician of the Cayman Islands, as I will be running for election in the constituency of West Bay North.
That's with him. That's
in
North.
2029. Like my student progress leader, Mr. Hewell, has always said, and I quote, "Be the very best version of you." In 2021, when our school was inspected, we received a good rating, and I had the privilege to make a welcoming speech as an honored guest for the special assembly that was for this occasion. And I am confident that next time we will receive an excellent rating. The ministry has done a great list of things for John Gray, like the free lunch program, having the opportunity to receive laptops, building a new John Gray High School, and many more to keep us healthy and to learn better. Every day, especially today, I am always happy to be a patriotic Caymanian and a John Gray High School student. I appreciate Mr. Clark for giving me the utmost opportunity to speak today. Have a blessed day.
And I can tell you, folks, that that young man received a standing ovation for that speech. His fellow students were so incredibly proud of him. And you'll see why here in a second. So let me pull in now. There were other official speeches. Like I said, the premier spoke and the governor spoke. We'll put the full thing up on social media. You guys can watch it perhaps this evening. But I also wanted to take this opportunity to also highlight and show you some of the actual facility. So this is
Good morning, my fellow students.
I'm going to fast forward this just a little bit because I want you to see how the students, because the government bit didn't necessarily capture this, but the students were cheering him
every day, especially today. I am always happy to be a patriotic Caymanian and a John Gray High School student. I appreciate Mr. Clark for giving me the utmost opportunity to speak today. Have a blessed day.
this is my camera angle. I was showing you guys the footage from government earlier, but you can see that these young people gave him an amazing standing ovation. Love it. They were so happy. As he said, being a patriotic Caymanian, it just melted your heart.
That is what we're about, John Gray. For those of you.
So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit
So
you guys can see kind of the tour, kind of where we started. Listen, this facility is so big that I was getting lost. I was like, where did we start again? Where are we? It was really big. Somebody just said his speech had me in tears. Oh my gosh. Some of the kids now, what they did was they actually had the children lead the different tour groups. So this was them standing up with the different tour groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, so that you could follow them. They told you about their school. I thought this was a fantastic idea to have the, I think these are maybe the prefect children, do this bit of it because, you know, they need to know what's in their school and what the different rooms are. And oh my gosh, it was so amazing. Janetta says, oh man, happy tears pouring out. John LaRue says that kid sounds like Steve McField. And she says she's so proud of Jaron. So yes, a very, very proud moment. And you'll see that he's one of the kids who actually went through the inclusion program. And so when we get to that part of my tour, you'll see exactly why that moment is even more special, right? Okay, so here's all the smile. And here's the band playing their musical instrument. That's amazing talent right there, John Grant. Listen, we sometimes talk about, you know, the ones that make the headline for all the wrong reasons. I want to be very, very clear, people, when I say the immense pride that I had yesterday in our future and in the youth of the Cayman Islands, right? Because there's so many kids who are doing the right thing, but they tend to get overshadowed by the 1 or 2 bad kids, right? We need to do more to highlight. Somebody was just asking me, Sandy, have you kicked off your youth program yet? I haven't. It's still on my bucket list for this year, but this is what we need to do. We need to highlight more of the positive because there are so many amazing young people out there who are doing a lot. And yesterday was an opportunity. Thank you to Mr. John Clark, the principal, my apologies, at John Gray High School, because it really gave him an opportunity to showcase his students and what they can do. So here's the John Gray High School concert band. We saw students, as you'll see a little bit later on in the footage, serving food in the kitchen. We saw kids in the mechanic shop. Y'all tell me, oh, they don't have any opportunities for vocational training. That's not true. There are lots of opportunities there, and there are young people who are taking advantage of it. So let's continue our tour. And this now would be coming into youth court. Again, you know, quite a few people from, you know, they might have been associated with the project, public works people over the years, people in education. Here they are coming through. There's the police officer there, the school officer. I had a good opportunity to chat with him throughout the tour, and he's so proud of these young people as well. And what an amazing job they've done. And the improvements as well that they have seen, which I think is so good. Hey, how are you? Good. So everybody was dressed in their finest and happy to be walking through those beautiful doors. So you guys have to forgive me for the choppiness. Sometimes when you're streaming content, this happens. But Here's an aerial view of the band. We can see them again playing all their string instruments. There looks like the teacher on the piano. Absolutely gorgeous. And then we're joining with your different groups to then go and take the tour. Alejandro, trust me, the facility is words that make me want to describe it. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Look at this. Look at this. This is the facility that your kids have access to, a world-class facility, right? Where they'll sit down and have their cafeterias. One of the things that Mr. Gosh, I keep forgetting the principal's name. One of the things that he talked about was the fact that they had taken what they learned at Clifton Hunter. So, Clifton Hunter was the first time we did this whole, open concept school. So they took what they learned because Mr. John Clark, he said, everything at Clifton Hunter isn't perfect. There were some issues with the open concept, but they took that same open concept and improved upon it. So there are things about the open concept, structural, physical open concept that is good. And there's some things that have presented issues and they've learned their lessons now from Clifton Hunter. So in the design of this school, they were actually able to make some much needed improvements to that. So you can see the young people, he was talking about how they have the flow, where they made it kind of like a circular flow. They, like how we drive on the left, they're walking on the left, same way sort of thing. And there's a bit of an unveiling here of a time capsule with the governor putting the last final screws in. So this is him now. He's going to be handed the electric screwdriver. So he's unveiling this. So aren't you guys fortunate to be able to see this morning? What a blessing. So he unveiled it with the premier and the education minister, Honorable and Connolly. And you see there it says John Gray High School time capsule 2023. And he put the last screw in the wall. Thank you, honey. Wow, beautiful. Beautiful. Alejandro says he wants to go back to school.
It's all going so well.
So here he is with the drill. Bring it in ever so carefully. And you can see Wayne. You know what I found? Wayne made me the honorable premier Panther, Wayne Panther, made me chuckle because he was there trying to push in this last one, couldn't get it. Juliana then tried it, couldn't get it, and Wayne said, "Oh, hold on, hand me that drill," and he screwed in the screw a little bit more. Now listen. This is when you're talented around the house. You can help yourself with a few little house projects. So I imagine the premier is probably helpful when he has time. He knows how to use the screwdriver, and he recognized right away that the little tap piece isn't the cosmetic covering isn't going on because the screw needs to go in even more, and he solved that problem quickly. All right, so the tour continued. This is the library. Yeah.
Still on the way.
On the way. Beautiful. Alejandro says that's a handyman right there. Wife material. So yes, this is the library and the books are on the way and they're going to get all that sorted out. There. I'm sorry. Isaac Franklin is there.
Very nice.
Honorable Ministers and Transport, Deputy Governor Chris Saunders, Health Minister. It was this young man, the tour guide extraordinaire. Explaining everything. And listen to what he just said. In the old campus, they didn't even know where the library was. And he's like, now it's in the center of the school. And it's so beautiful that he is going to be using the library more. And that's the idea, to make the environment comfortable and welcoming so that, yes, they all want to engage and they all want to use it to its full potential, right?
The last bits of furniture to come in here to look at the rest of the school, so you can be in here when everybody's downstairs in that dining space that you saw there. That really is a testimony to the open plan, the strength of the open plan design at Clifton Hunter. We've got good open plan spaces here as well. Obviously, we've got fixed classrooms. That was the number one thing coming back from teachers. They did the walls on their classrooms at that time. Number one for students was, can you remember? The number one request for students in the new school? Lockers. Okay.
So they mentioned that students requested, when they, sort of surveyed their students, what was the number one thing that they wanted in their school that they didn't previously have access to? And they said lockers. It seems like such a simple request, but I guess if you've never had lockers, now, I had lockers back in the day in my high school, so I can't imagine high school without lockers, but I guess they didn't have them before. Simple things like that, where you don't have to carry your backpack and your materials around with you all day. I remember between classes, we'd get our little breaks, and we would, I know, them books were heavy, child. When you're in AP classes, oh God, biology book was so big. And I was like, oh, as soon as I was out of biology, I'd run to my locker, stick that one back in, take out my next book for English or whatever. If you had projects and you didn't want to be dragging your project all around all day, you could stick it in your locker. So lockers are, it's like,
that will be,
simple,
there's lots of blank spaces here.
Really necessary.
Inspirational quotes and our vision.
So the students requested lockers more than anything else. So they have the lockers coming. They've got the wall space.
It's going to take us some time today. Okay, so
cut out for the lockers, and they're on their way.
We actually foiled them all because we were holding up in the corridor. We actually have a circulation system around the school. We kind of move around clockwise, the shortest clockwise route, which basically means you're using the stairs, keeping to the left wherever you can, because it's the only way we can move 1200 safely here. And one of the big things was maximising learning time. We wanted to reduce transition time, try and get that to 3 minutes through lessons and squeeze every little bit of gain out the more they're in class.
Yeah, so making the flow of students going from one classroom to the next 3 minutes or less. Alejandro says, excellent. I wish I had lockers. Jill, I could imagine life without lockers.
The more we learn. And it's worked very well in the first week so far, hasn't it? But it is our first week. So if the things you see that you don't get right or remember staff's going the wrong way, please excuse us. We're very vulnerable today. We're very open and transparent to everybody. Well then, next, the inclusion hub. So we're actually going to go backwards a little bit. So,
all right, so we were going off then to the inclusion hub. Beautiful. So again, I'm gonna so let me just see here. So this is the inclusion hub now on the east wing. So they've got like different wings. I think the signage is good to kind of remind you of where you're at, especially in the early days, because I was looking like, where am I again? So the signage is up, will be useful to kids, but this inclusion wing, again, we were talking about inclusion came on this morning. You'll hear a little bit about this from, I think, the gentleman who's actually heading it up. An amazing, without a doubt, an amazing and necessary component of any modern day school system. Inclusion hub. This school is big. Oh my goodness. And then those are all the, what do you call them? Houses, wahoo, tarpon, marlin, dolphin, beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Science wing, the drama and theater facility. So this is inclusion week now. Yes.
Textbooks, the settings, the images on the room, on the wall.
So they have this entire area
Throughout here, we've got different specialists
with multiple rooms that, multiple specialty areas. And then he explains what the inclusion wing is. So listen very, very carefully to this because this is so important.
So we've got 3 counsellors, an educational psychologist, a therapist. Over in the corners are educational psychologists running an assessment at the moment. Behind you, the room with the posters on the wall. We've got another kind of suspension unit that takes place. So essentially, we're working with about 30 children in our nurture group. We have about 40 other children coming up. As you leave through to the right-hand side, we've got our learning support class. Our learning support class operates very closely with the Lighthouse schools. So it's a group of 10 or 12 children who have met criteria to actually join us in mainstream. Really what we're trying to do here is include these children in mainstream as much as possible. So we work closely with Mr. Clark. We've got the psychologist. Really we're just trying to provide the students a safe and sensitive place for them to learn. We have some high-risk children that come down to us on a daily basis. We also run a lunchtime club for them up here. Anybody got any questions as to what's going on?
What's a high-risk student?
So we've got a young man who might be with us. He suffers from severe Tourette's. Now these Tourette's can be displayed anywhere from a slight tic, it can be vocalized in terms of barking, all the way through to severe kind of back contortions. Luckily you can see behind the gents here, we've got padded floor for him. This is his actual room, so when the Tourette's and the seizures become so extreme, the recommendations from HSA are that we try and get him in here as quickly as possible, go straight through to 911 if these seizures last more than 20 minutes. We've got students in here who are visually impaired, so you'll notice on the doors, every door has braille, especially when you come up in here. We've got a young lady who is hearing impaired as well. So we've got our visual and hearing impairment specialists that work with these children on a daily basis. Obviously the makeup of the school is very tough, so we try and do as much teaching and learning and assessment in with Nurture Group, in with LSC as possible. We deal with students who have severe vulnerabilities. We're looking at IQs which are very, very low, which means they're susceptible to any kind of challenges that the community unfortunately is going to face on them. But we work tremendously. We've got a great network around us, from the MASH, from social services, to internally the team is just remarkable. But yeah.
How do they get recommended
to the Nurture Group?
Yeah.
So what we do our transition meetings, so kind of March time, April time, we go out to meet with all the primary schools. So our 4 primary feeder schools, we'll meet with them and we'll take the specialist team with us, and we'll actually sit down and go through every child who's on the School Action Plus register, and they'll say, look, my name's Elliot. So Elliot, for example, would benefit maybe from 6 weeks in Nurture Group just to become accustomed to what life is like in secondary. Because when you go from a primary school, when you're with that teacher all day, to coming into this type of environment, it can be really overwhelming. Our Nurture Group was initiated with Mr. Clark, and we've been operating for 5 years. So the first cohort that we had back in 2000 and whenever started with 5 or 6 children, all the way up now to around 30, and we've seen these children progress from. In fact, our first cohort are going to be graduating next year. They're leaving us. They're sitting their exams this year. Jaren Reynolds Velasquez, who gave the sensational speech just before Mr. Clark, was part of that first cohort of Nurture Group. So you can see with the support that they get from the staff here, the experts that we've got here, these children can fly. There's nothing holding them back. Yes, sir.
Do we have something similar like this at Clifton Hunter?
So Clifton Hunter runs something similar. I'm not sure of the kind of context in which it operates.
Mm-hmm.
But ours was the first kind of example of it within the Caribbean. So
Wow. You can imagine, folks, the first example of this type of program within the Caribbean. So again, this is why I think it is important to highlight the positive things that our educators are doing. A lot of times we only hear the negative. We hear when the kids are getting sick because some of them are bringing brownies, weed brownies to school or whatever. But listen, there's so much positivity that was highlighted as a result of these tours yesterday that I really wanted to take a good portion of this morning's program to educate you all, first of all, the listeners, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, so that you know the wonderful things that they're doing. They're all high tech with the lunch ordering system, and you can order your lunch on the little iPad. And I mean, these kids have the best of the best now. And as parents, that means that y'all got to step it up. I'm going to talk about your role in all of this here in just a second. But yes, that young man, Jaron, was part of the inclusion program, and it's helping kids who are coming out of the primary school system going into John Gray High School to integrate a little bit easier and to have that additional support. Like he said, sometimes it might be like, okay, maybe 6 weeks or whatever, so that they can feel their way around. If they have special needs, they have all the specialists in this one inclusion unit, whether it's a speech therapist, hearing and audible therapist, the young man. I didn't even think about this, but apparently we have at least one person in the Cayman Islands that suffers from Tourette's syndrome. And you guys know that that can manifest itself in different ways. Some people have tics, like physical tics. Sometimes people will say certain things, like he talked about, this young man does the barking. Sometimes it's profanity. It's different ways in which Tourette's can actually exhibit itself. And it's a fairly unusual, nervous system disorder. I don't know what the prevalence is in the community, but I never really thought about the fact that somebody in Cayman actually could have Tourette's. But apparently there is a student that has it. And so to cope with these tics, to cope with his seizures, again, the tics can be sudden movements, twitches or sounds or, repeated words and stuff like that. These are involuntary tics, people. And so this young man that has it, they were saying that sometimes he will have a prolonged seizure. So they know about his condition, and they know that if he has an episode that lasts over 20 minutes, like the seizure itself is lasting over 20 minutes, then they need to call 911 to get him medical assistance. This is so important. I mean, your children can feel safer being in an environment like this, and parents can have, the comfort in knowing that these professionals know exactly what it is that they're doing and how to handle your children. I found that during this inclusion unit section, all of the participants in this group, you can see the former minister there, Tara Rivers, the Minister of Health, Isaac Rankin, Parliamentary Secretary, Dwayne Seymour, the governor. They were all engaged in listening to what this gentleman had to say.
Taken a lot of research from all over the world and really tried to embed what we're doing here.
First of its kind.
It's worked wonders. There's always going to be a need because some of these children don't quite fit the mold for Lighthouse School. They certainly have their challenge there. As you can see, this is a beautifully safe, a beautifully sensitive environment. Once we close the doors behind you, you don't hear any of that kind of cacophony of noise. So the children and the parents are.
So I thought, again, what he said there was really important. Like, not every differently able child has to be in Lighthouse School, They have a, wonderful program there and a specific model, but a lot of these children can be integrated into a regular high school environment just with a little bit more support. And so I'm really, really pleased to see that this program exists. This is my first time. I knew that there was a different program, I think, for the younger children that's part of the old John Gray campus. And we've toured that before. And I know I've told you guys a little bit about that, but I think we need to visit them again. I wonder if some of those children will actually go to this inclusion unit as well. Miss Sue, I'll reach out to her because, again, that was such a fascinating and rewarding experience having toured that facility and learning a little bit more about those children and what that unit offers. This is fantastic, folks.
Into it, we run termly sessions whereby the parents come in the evenings. There's refreshments for them, just to get a feel, because we want them to feel that this is part of their community as well.
So you see the little matted area. I can have like a timeout moment.
Well. Just to
and
identify some
cushion.
opportunities where we can share with them what's going on.
Let me interrupt for a second. This really is a centre of excellence.
Yeah,
everyone should be proud of it. We've got a real set of experts in here, and we were able to recruit a special educational needs teacher that's just developed her practice. When we had some options to support the DES, just to change staffing a little bit, and it really is having impact. We could have all the inspection reports in the world, but you saw young Jerry in assembly there today. And there are multiple students like him. The aim is always full integration. That's where we really want. It's an inclusion hub. It's about inclusion. At times we almost have to withdraw students to give them the help and support they need, especially if they're linked to trauma or something, a major life event. But once they get that care, guidance and support, especially now we're all on this campus, and we opened this earlier when we were still on the old campus, and it was still effective. So it's going to be incredibly effective with this campus now.
Isn't Cayman involved in this in any way?
Only as a partner to refer to sometimes. We sometimes get referrals in and out. And we have a full medical suite, unbelievable. We haven't got time probably to look at it, but some ministers may want to. We've got the dental suite and the nurse that, again, they designed that. HSA took ownership over that, which is a fantastic facility for us as a school. I think we've got to move. We're going to try and get to another part of the school and then
So fantastic, folks. Full medical suite and stuff as well. My apologies. RMR says that kid, aka Jaren, should give hope to all Caymanians that the next generation will be great. I was overjoyed to hear a confident Caymanian accent rather than the fake, annoying North American accent. Oh yes, honey, yeah. And Jaren is right from the heart of West Bay, like he say. He wants to take north. What do you say, West Bay North? I think that's the speaker's position. So, honey, child. Now look at my young people. Let me do a big shout out. Let me just back up a little bit here. Like I said, they were very, very glad to see people touring their facility and everybody saying hi. Somebody else says, or any other Caribbean accent, not just North American. They don't want to hear any Caribbean accent as well. They want to hear Caymanian accent. I get you, chill. Look at our young people.
One.
Good. We did a lot of selfies yesterday, lots of photo ops. Wow, this school is amazing. I mean, look at this school. I was like blown away. So Alejandro says, same thing I was thinking, Sandy. I see some people with Tourette's and they curse and they think it's something that they learned, like a response disorder. It's pretty new to me. No, Tourette's is, maybe we can have somebody on today talk about Tourette's. It is the completely involuntary tick.
The science classrooms are in the south wing, but there are some science classrooms here in the west.
And these are some students.
Very lovely.
Once they saw CMR, they were getting excited. I was telling them, relax.
So there is a program happening.
Aww, they're in class. Science, one of my favorite topics. I love me some biology, Jim. Except dissecting the frogs. I was not too fond of that part. When I had to dissect anything, I was like, ew. I let my lab partner do that part. So Robin says, this gives me hope, so much hope for my child entering John Gray High School. Yes, Robin, really very good. RD Limited said, Mr. Gray in the background, a man who's dedicated his life to Cayman. Now let's hope that the parents are partners with the school and not adversaries. Oh, yes, RD. So that's where I'm going to go next. By the way, the video here, we're going to go into the mechanics area. Is this the mechanic? No, this is the theater. Hold on. Look at this theater, y'all.
To Mr. Kirkland Lawrence's invaluable contribution to the John Gray High School Spanish Department. This was written by Messrs. Otto White,
same shell as
like a butterfly's wings,
that you redevelop
which silently soars,
performance space.
and the ship's anchor, which fastens its shore. Señor Lawrence, you play a significant role in the lives of the children that you mold. You're always there whenever we call. Like the rock of Gibraltar, you stand tall. You never frown or breathe a sigh. You never complain or ask why. Your versatility is comparable to none. Neither can your wittiness be outdone. To us, you're a shining star, beaming brightly wherever you are. Your generosity is genuine and rare.
I mean, isn't that amazing? Wow, that theater looks so good. I'm gonna just hold on. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. So that was the performance hall, and then we saw more kids. We're going through the hallway here. We went through the science classrooms area. But some kids were obviously in class. And then this one was, what classroom was this? It was serious. What can I tell you? They're CMR fans apparently. But look at this beautiful school. So I do want to say, as RD Limited has said, really and truly now, it's up to the parents to get on board. Parents, you have zero excuses. You have got to do your part. You can't blame school administrators. There will always be a partnership, I think, between parents, teachers, and the department administration, but the most important thing now is for you as parents to do your part for these young people. They have a beautiful facility. They've got good teachers. They have learning opportunities. And I think parents have got to be there. So this is student services section. Parents, you all have to be there for your young people to really give them the support that they need in the home, because you can have the best facility, the best teachers, the best everything. But if they don't have a good, calm home environment, if they don't have an environment that's conducive to them learning and getting a good night's sleep, getting balanced meals, being happy and stress-free. Y'all have so much drama sometimes in your own lives that it's spilling over into that of your children. Check this bit out. This is the lunch ordering system. Nice tech, nice pads, salad over in the food area, and drink.
Okay, so this is the technology they use to scan our cards.
The technology order lunches. This is a south wing. Design and what did it say? Design and tech. Hold on. I mean, I was like, this is impressive.
Okay, so this is the technology they use to scan our cards.
I gotta be honest now, folks. I've gotten lost. But this is a massive school. This is beautiful. Wow. So you got science labs on this side.
Yes.
Very nice. Wow. Look at this.
Yeah. I mean, I think this could very well be the best school in the Caribbean, to be honest. Okay, mansion. More science lab.
So nice.
And then we'll get to the design area. The police officer Myers, I think is his last name. This is where the lockers will go, by the way. So there'll be lockers, like that's what that space is for. So the lockers are coming.
Room over there. Okay. Janitor's closet.
So we have more science lab rooms.
I'm not sure what that one's for, but.
And
these are the locker areas.
Oh, the lockers will go in here.
Lots of space for lockers.
Okay. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. They'll get lockers and stuff put in here. Beautiful.
So there's some of the young kids taking a break between classes. More science labs. I think we're going to get to the mechanics section. Oh, yes. Yes, this is mechanics now. So you guys, they have real cars. Real cars and real engines in the mechanic section. And they are working on them, getting their hands dirty. They got on their little mechanic jumpers. So this was so good to see. I was like, wow, look at these young people. Looks like he's putting a little oil or something. Look at that. Yes. Putting on his security, his eyewear. Gonna put some oil in there. They're checking the little oil dip stick. Look at the engines. They got the instructor in there. Yeah, man, they got things going on. See that young man putting on his gloves.
You recognize me, miss?
Yes, how are you?
Good with you?
You guys are doing a good job. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Lana, on the line. Say hi to the line.
Yeah, man, y'all need to come and work on some cars. And this is nice. Yep. Yes.
Some of them are like, oh my God,
everybody tomorrow morning, I see all you young men looking good in your mechanic outfits.
Yeah, of course. We're asking about the batteries. So yes, they were in there doing all kinds of
They were
stuff.
in really bad shape. I think they came out of Bernie's car.
They have some used motors there, learning the different parts of motors. Amazing. Yeah. Hopefully they're learning about electric vehicles and stuff as well. But they had 2 cars in the mechanic shop that were actively being worked on. So this is fantastic. Lots of opportunities. Yeah, I was, like I said, absolutely impressed. So parents, get on board, do what you've got to do, support, volunteer, whatever is required. In fact, the last time I went to John Gray, they had the Culture Day. You guys might remember this a few months back. That was really quite nice. And, some of the kids wanted to interview me for their media group, like they have a media group, media club. And so I was... what can I say? I need to do some clearing out of some stuff. And so I'm actually today going to spend a good part of my day after the show clearing out things that I don't use, most of it brand new, never got used, whatever. And I'm going to make a donation to the media club there at John Gray High School so they can have tripods and equipment and they can do their podcasting and, whatever production work that they do. I'm going to actually donate some of the equipment to them because when you see this, and you see the potential of these young people, folks, you want to do everything in your power to help. I don't have a child at John Gray. She's not even that old. She's still in kindergarten, right? But these are our children. We have to take ownership of our children. Every single Caymanian parent, even if you're not a parent, you're an aunt, you're an uncle, you don't have any kids, doesn't matter. These are our children. And so we have to support them in any way possible. And if a little donation from my closet, my overstock closet of equipment can help the media club, just do it. Volunteer your time. Find out if they need people to go in and do reading. If you're in the mechanic business and you saw the mechanic shop and you're thinking, oh, maybe I can go and do like a lecture, a guest lecture or whatever, reach out to the school. I'm sure they are open. So here's the design and tech section, the math atrium over on that side. They are open, even an elevator in the school, honey Jill. They are open to hearing from you, and they're open to. By the way, let me just say this. Somebody just made the comment. They made me chuckle because y'all know we're doing our 50 by 50 program. somebody said that the PAC government seems to be quite top heavy, and they could do with losing a little bit of weight. Well, yes, we all could do with that. And they said, they even were looking at Juliana O'Connor Connolly. They said she went from champion girl in track to champion in obesity. Ouch. No bueno. So they say, they could hear her breathing, almost being labored. She does wear a mask as well. And I don't know if the mask is contributing to the fact that she does sound a little bit winded. But, we all struggle with being overweight, folks, to different extents. I got 50 pounds to lose. I'm not going to lie. I don't necessarily get out of breath like that. But, if I run up a flight of stairs, of course, I'm going to be huffing and puffing. We all have to do our part. Walk more, eat less. If intermittent fasting works for you, get on it, honey child. Do some leg lifts, whatever we need to do. So this government, they said the PAC government is heavyweight on the scales. And I would encourage them, as I already have, to get on board with my 50 by 50 program. We still got to August to really get moving and to get started. Why not? But I was just looking at the elevator there, right? So Mr. John Clark opened the elevator and invited some of the dignitaries in. The premier had the chance to take the elevator, and he declined and took the stairs with me. Kudos for him, honey chia, because I thought he was going to take the elevator. So good. Take the stairs more often. Park further out in the parking lot so that you're forcing yourself to walk more as well. There's little things that we can do to really help. Now, this was the final reception area that they had set up so beautifully. There's restrooms over there. And these young people are part of I don't know if it's home economics or what they're calling it exactly. But my dear, there's a group room and they were serving food. Now, can I tell you, OMG, back up. Speaking of loving food a little bit too much, we got to be honest now, the dessert be my Achilles heel. Y'all know we got a sweet tooth. These little cheesecake cups, oh my God, they are to die for. So delicious. Oh, I was in dessert heaven yesterday. And I was like, Sandy, don't have 5 of these now, because I got ruined the whole point of fasting until 2:00 in the afternoon. So they were good. They had those and they had other little hors d'oeuvres and stuff. I only had the dessert cup and I passed on everything else. And I said, nope, gonna save up my calories, honey child. They're like, Miss, would you like some fruit punch? I said, nope, no liquid calories either. Gonna be drinking water and tea. But the kitchen area looks phenomenal. So there's a clothing and textile studio. So they're in there designing clothes. I think they said that they might be participating in the Fashion Week or something. See, all those are sewing machines all around the back and on the side. Those are all the sewing machines, right? And so this whole area is textile and design of clothing. See, they have their fabrics and some of these trays and stuff, your 9 textiles and so on. These kids have a lot going on at the school. Parents, support your children. Encourage them to get involved in extracurricular activities, right? UCCI, we're going to see an interview here shortly from UCCI. They're right across the way. They can go from John Gray High School to UCCI. They had fruits available, fresh fruits. Now look at this section. This is
resource management.
Family resource management. Design, showing them how they can do different design work.
Some of this cheesecake now. Oh my gosh.
And yes, that's when I decided to try the cheesecake. Y'all hear me going?
Great job.
Oh my God.
My goodness, so delicious.
So the kitchen, this is the little area where they could sit and they could have receptions and stuff, which is super nice. And these young people bringing out the platters and stuff from the kitchen. The kitchen is nice. The only thing is, I wish the kitchens had, instead of electric stoves, I wish they had gas stoves, but that is a first world problem, y'all. Trust me, that is very much a first world problem. But I love me a gas stove. I think it cooks better too. Gives you a better meal, better cooking experience. But anyway, I only saw electric stoves in there, no gas. So, but look, there's 2 kitchens and this is one of the 2 kitchens. And look at this, full pro kitchen. multiple workstations, multiple stoves, sink areas, serving areas. They can learn to cook some real Caymanian food up in there. Trust me. Mm-mm-mm. All the kids are waving and saying hello. Isn't that gorgeous? Wearing their hairnet, proper food hygiene. Both men and young ladies were in the kitchen because y'all men need to be up in there too.
Wow. Hello.
Hello. Yes.
You guys are doing an amazing job. I love it.
Uh-huh. Yep. So hopefully they'll be teaching them Cayman style beef and the work. But absolutely gorgeous. All right. Good morning, Miss Dean. What did Alejandro say? Cayman can be the slowest in learning in the Caribbean. Not speak bad and grateful, but this is a well overdue project. Happy it's done. Let's be positive now, Alejandro. He says, I'm impressed. It looks so brand new after so many years. Well, they're just finishing it. It took them a while to get it built, but they're finishing it. Martin is asking if it's the most expensive school in history. Maybe it is the most expensive school here, but I would dare say that this type of investment is money well spent. We invest in a lot of things that are not going to get you the kind of returns that this would get you if you do it right. Let me see here. West Bay North. Magdalene says, both of my children went to public school and both went off to college. They're professionals in their trade. You just have to be engaged with the schools and teachers a whole step of the way. All the best to you. Absolutely. Gabby says, environment is important. So I'm sure being in this new environment will definitely help boost their attitude to learning and confidence. Awesome. I mean, you heard the young man saying before he didn't even know where the library was in the other school. And now he wants to go to the library. He wants to be part of that situation. Ms. Sue also vouches for the public school system. She said, both of my children went to public schools and on to college, did very well, and have good positions in the fields that they work in. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with public schools. I think sometimes parents might choose private schools for different reasons. The classroom sizes might be a little bit smaller. So sometimes if you want that more individualized attention for your child, you will look at those types of things when it comes to private versus public schools. Yes. RD says now government has to be forward thinking and start building a large contingent of Caymanian teachers. Yes, honey chill. We are in agreement with that, RD. Alejandro says, I know I'd reconsider school for my daughter, but by then I want to see schools in the sky here. I'm not impressed. Oh, come on, Alejandro. No need for school in the sky. Clifton Hunter will all want to go there now. I don't know. I mean, I've never actually been inside of Clifton Hunter, but Clifton Hunter is not that old. I mean, I think Clifton Hunter is probably pretty nice. RD says I came out of education from back in the 1980s, in the late 80s, and we didn't have a fraction of this stuff. So I'm hoping these resources will result in scientists and doctors in every graduating year. Well, the technology is so different as well. What was going on in the 80s and even the 90s when I came out of school, it's not the same. These young people are going to be immersed in artificial intelligence. And yes, some may want to be doctors. I don't know. But there's so many opportunities in design and technology and STEM and robotics and all this stuff that being a scientist or a doctor is like, some of the more exciting things for them will be these other more emerging professions. And there's always room for, marketing people and communications people. And there's some fields that are always really, really steady in terms of what they offer. So Gabby says, this is what I love to see. Cayman is finally getting up to times in regards to education, and public schools have been neglected for far too long. Good morning to Miss Lucille. Says, good morning, Sandy. I'm watching. I'm so proud. I'm not in school, but I have a lot of great and great grand in school. God bless the Cayman Islands. I'm so glad the government is helping parents with the free lunch Sandy, I'm very close to you. See you all. God bless. Hope the children preach what the government has done and take advantage of it, and they give them the tool. It is for them to use it. Absolutely. All right. Trudy, good morning. Says all of them, Sandra. Is there a gym at the school? Also, I didn't see the whole tour. You know, I didn't see a gym. I didn't see a gym, but I may have. No, there is a gym. Yes, that's the auditorium area that we were in for the well, like they would use that for like the basketball tournaments and stuff like that. So that's like the gym area. Yeah, there's a gym there. Not a gym like with weights, I don't think. I didn't see that kind of a gym, but maybe I think there's more to the school that we didn't actually see as well. Rexley says, yeah, I agree with you, Miles. Been too long. It's nice. And another one for deaf impaired person. I myself am hearing impaired with sign language, graduate high school, then college in Florida. Nothing is impossible. All things are God possible. So thank you, Rexley. Appreciate that. So they do have Braille in the inclusion unit for those students, but I hope they have it throughout the rest of the school as well. I mean, every sign should have Braille, you know? What everyone go crazy for food here in the Caribbean. Listen, I don't know about the food. And I know some parents be complaining that the portions are not big enough. And, you know, they have that complaint. I think, honestly, y'all could do with teaching children not to eat so much. I'm just saying. Because when these parents come to me complaining about, oh, these portion sizes, Sandy, I'd be looking at them going, yeah, those kids are already looking a little bit chunky. And this is how we develop lifestyle habits now. Teach them from young that they don't have to eat a plate and a half of food. You know, they can use smaller portions, portion control, because you already start stretching out their little stomachs already. So teach them to cut back on the food. They don't have to be fat and fabulous. They can be fit and fabulous. Jonathan, you had to listen mostly on radio today. What were you doing? Were you out there working or what? Trudy says gas stoves are the first way to learn to cook for real. Yes, that's the only thing I saw in the kitchen. I was like, maybe we could do it with some gas stoves. Clifton Hunter, I think Dawson's asked about plans for Clifton Hunter. I think Clifton Hunter, how old is Clifton Hunter? It's not that old. That's still a good school. Yes, Jonathan, still thinking about talking about the school. Lady Clifton Hunter, children are quite okay. Leave them out of this. Michelle says, Lady Clifton Hunter, children are quite okay. Leave them out of this. They're fine. They're fine. Trust me. Good morning to Miss Joy. You're most welcome, Rexley. Jonathan, let's get to the action stories now. Oh, Jonathan has a one-track mind, honey child. So listen, I want you guys to listen to this interview from UCCI. While we're in the topic of education, let's go ahead and package it all together. We sat down on Friday with the new president over there at UCCI, and here's what he had to say. Folks, so we're here with Dr. Robertson from the University College of the Cayman Islands. He's the new CEO. We're going to be talking to him a little bit about what's been happening on campus. Some big and exciting things have been going on. So thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to speak with us and our listeners. And, you know, everyone is always curious as to what's happening here at the university. So I noticed that when I came here today, the parking lot was full. And I could barely find a parking spot. So there's a lot of excitement on campus this afternoon. What's going on?
So there's two things. Basically, first of all, we're doing a major change with respect to the courtyard. The courtyard has had some serious flooding problems over the last few years, and so it will be opened again in about 2 or 3 weeks. It will have a significant drainage applied to it, so it won't flood. Students use it to study and, you know, have a lunch in, so it'll look a lot better. It'll be more functional, and that project was about $330,000, and it's just about finished. So, but it's I think it'll really make students feel more comfortable on campus, and it's about ready to go. So we're really pleased about that. In addition, today we have the Chamber of Commerce here. They have an education and career fair in the hall. They have about 350 to 400 students who've been through so far today, as far as I've heard. And we have about probably 60 different companies and organizations presenting their, the kinds of things that they do, and giving students a sense of what the job opportunities are like out there for them. So it's a very interesting day.
Wow, fantastic. I just passed someone from one of the local hospitals here. Looks like they were packing up some of their stuff. But I mean, this is a fantastic opportunity for university students to kind of see, as you rightfully said, what's available in the job market. And I remember the days when we went to the job fairs. It was also exciting to think about, are you in the right career path? Because sometimes you weren't sure, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's for high school students as well as college students. And the point is, and we spoke about this morning at the introduction, everybody's different. Everybody has a different interest, a different passion. And particularly for younger students, high school students, I always ask them to, what are you interested in? Don't ask me, what should I do? It's really, what do you want to do? Because the sky's the limit. If you want to do something, let's find a way to make you ready to do that, get the skills that you need. And so most of the employers that I spoke to, that's the kind of things they were talking to with students. So, they would bring them in for like an internship, for example. It's like a long interview. And you could both see what you wanted to do, both the student and the company, as to whether you wanted to keep them and, encourage them to stay with the company. And so those kind of discussions, and I sat in on a few of them today, they were just great.
Absolutely, fantastic. What's the complement of students here now at the University College? How many students do you have?
So we're just under 2,000. The traditional enrollment students is kind of flat, if not down a little bit, but the non-traditional students, people taking workforce skills or certificates, is up by about 9 or 10%. And we will continue to see that through the remainder of this academic year, and I think into next year. That's pretty common through most parts of the Caribbean as well as Canada and the United States. I think post-COVID, but even pre-COVID, people were looking for, a way to upskill that maybe didn't take the same amount of time as it did for me to get a bachelor's degree, for example. A lot of people want to see light at the end of the tunnel. They want to get out and work and then maybe do school part-time. And so we're increasingly offering more of those types of credentials.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So recently, a few weeks back, I attended a Resembid award grant launch or ceremony, and that was the second one that I had attended. And so it seems like the University College of Cayman Islands is really getting a lot of wonderful opportunities in terms of grants being given that then allows you to offer courses to students right here in the Cayman Islands. So tell us a little bit about the last grant and what that means for the university.
So it's actually the second in a series of grants, as you just mentioned, and the total is about 1.6 million euros. So that's a pretty significant amount. I've actually had calls from colleagues across the Caribbean asking us how we did it, what are we doing, can we learn from you in terms of those grants. And so I think it is, it's a brand game changer for UCCI. The grant itself is primarily about resiliency and sustainability, and climate change is a big issue. So, for example, we'll be hiring a project coordinator because the grant has about a 12-month window within which it needs to be spent, which is actually seems to a lot of people like a long time, but it isn't really when you have to spend that money in a certain way.
Yes.
So we will have a designated coordinator on site likely as early as the next week or two. We will set up a steering committee, which will include some government representation, some representation from UCCEI and some others. And by others, I mean, for example, the National Trust. We had a very good discussion with them just a few minutes ago about working jointly on this because it's a mutual benefit. They have some similar interests, and we can, I think, make this grant 110% if we work with them as opposed to doing it sort of separately. So in addition to that, we will be training young Caymanians to work in solar industries, which is particularly important and will continue to be. I mean, just in the last few days, oil prices have gone down, but they always go back up. So solar will continue to be a big deal for, for this country, but also elsewhere. And you need people who are trained in that discipline. It's very important. So we'll be training people in that area. We'll also look at this campus as a case study, and this is where my colleagues are asking me, what are you doing and how can we follow you? So we'll be actually tracking energy use on the campus and try to improve energy use. Well, not trying to, we will improve it. A lot of places have problems with air conditioning systems. It's too cold, it's too hot, it's left on over the weekend, those types of things. Right. And if we can set it up so it's more automated and so it's off at night, comes on during the day, basic things. Costs a little bit of money to invest in, but it has a payback over time. A component of that would be to use solar on some of our buildings, and the solar would be for two purposes. One, it would be kind of a plug and play. I mean, students could come in and plug it in, see how it works, unplug it, and then other students can come in and see how it works. But it would also generate electrical supply to some of our buildings, and it would reduce our costs. We spend over $300,000 a year on electricity here at UCCI, and so if you could even reduce that by 50%, that's a big savings. And furthermore, we're going to talk with colleagues, for example, at the high school, because the high school and the stadium, my guess is between the three of us, we probably spend $1 million. Now, it's just a guess, but I think I'm pretty close. And if we could work on a microgrid for all three of those entities and reduce the energy cost by, again, 50%, that's $500,000. So we'll be looking into things like that with the Resembid grant, and so I think it has a big impact. And more importantly, I think it's multidisciplinary. So it's not just the trades, for example, or particular parts of the school. The entire university needs to be supportive of the types of things that are in this grant. So I mentioned at the opening, I think where you were, that we're a member now of this PRME, Principles for Responsible Management Education. And we're going to try to include in courses across the university the importance of managing sustainably. Because for an island like the Cayman Islands, it's really important. I mean, it's important anywhere, but it's particularly evident here that we need to be careful about, the stewardship that is required of us on an island nation. And so we'll be doing that. We spoke with the with the National Trust today about making sure that message doesn't get out just to university students, but also to high school students and elementary students. Right. And so we want to work with them in setting up some courses that would be available partly online, but partly face-to-face, that students could take and would explain to them, the importance to them about these issues. Because, in fact, many of the changes we're going to make are more important for younger people, because they're going to be left with either the problems or the prospects of what we do. And so we need to treat the environment wisely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a hot button topic for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it is everywhere, but I think it's really important here. I mean, that's partly why a lot of tourists come here. Obviously, it's a pristine, beautiful environment. And, you know, the more I talk to people overseas about the islands, they like the fact that the environments have that level of, you know, beauty attached to them, and they really feel it's different than it is in many other places, not only in Grand Cayman, but also in Cayman Brac.
Wonderful. So, Dr. Robinson, how long have you been on the island now? It's
About five or 6 months.
You're going into about 6 months. So, how are you generally finding, you know, the university campus environment? I know the students are still getting to know you a little bit. And I'm sure you're still getting to know them as well as the faculty. Tell us about some of the challenges, perhaps, as well as, you know, some of the beautiful opportunities that you see.
Yeah, well, it certainly takes more than 6 months. You have to really kind of hit the ground running, but you have to also be a little cautious about overreacting to certain things. And so I try to every day get out and walk around. And so I'll go into a class, which surprises some, you know, students and faculty, but I'll kind of just walk in and introduce myself and, you know, just sort of open up the floor for questions that they might have. And the one positive thing I hear about that is that students maybe are reluctant the first time, but then after, when they see you on campus, they'll come up to you and ask you a question, which is great. We have some DE students here, some dual enrollment students, and they've been really positive about asking for information about where to go to school after they finish high school, either here or perhaps elsewhere. And so those types of relationships takes a bit of time to build, but I think it's important, and I think a president needs to, you know, have that level of visibility, essentially, not only with students but also with faculty. We also were trying to build some specific opportunities for both. So we have been aggressive in trying to sign some articulation agreements, for example. We signed some with the University of Prince Edward Island. We have a couple of other ones we're signing. We have another one with New England Institute of Technology that's just about to be signed. And the point is, these need to be mutually beneficial. In a previous life in the Caribbean, I was concerned that some foreign schools would come here basically with their hand out. They would just want students to come to their school, pay the tuition, and go home or stay, whatever they wanted to do, but there wasn't a lot of value, you know, in the proposition. So here we're actually trying to ensure there is value. So for example, at UPEI, University of Prince Edward Island, they will have Canadian students come for a term and have everything paid, but then they can come back with credits. They also will support faculty exchange. So faculty can go up and shadow a faculty member in business or whatever the other disciplines are. So that's one example. We have another school from Canada, Nova Scotia Community College is coming here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Same kind of program. So, I mean, that's beneficial on both levels. I mean, for them, it gives them a sense of the Cayman Islands, the history and culture here, that type of thing. But for our people, it gives them a sense of some of the opportunities in different schools. New England Tech, for example, will be announcing a major scholarship for students who come through UCCEI, and by major I mean $12,000 a year. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a very good school. They have programs we just can't offer here, like architecture, for example. They have an architectural program. They've got a ship design and construction program, you know, because they're attached to some of the big shipyards in Rhode Island. So it's kind of interesting if we can hook up with some of those schools in terms of best practice. So those things are important as well. But there's still a lot of things that we need to work on.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of really awesome collaborative opportunities there.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, it's what you make of them. A lot of people sign these agreements, they don't go anywhere, but we want to sign a few of them, but make sure that they are beneficial to both parties. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. So what's next in terms of the Resembid program? Will we be getting some updates, I'm sure, from the sort of the technical staff that's
Correct.
working directly with those?
Right. So one of the things that's really important in a program of this nature is to document it and report it. And so we even spoke to the Resembid coordinator yesterday about the fact that I think the program's a little weak generally in terms of encouraging different Resembid recipients to communicate with each other so that we can learn from each other's mistakes. I think that's really important. And so they've agreed to a post-Resembid grant conference virtually where we can share what worked for us and what didn't with other countries in the region.
Okay.
And so by doing that, you also can improve, yourself. But through the period of the next 12 months, we will issue monthly updates to publicly so everybody sees what is happening. We will have in place, I think by the end of next week, a steering committee. We will have a coordinator, and we will have a game plan because it's only 12 months and we have to get on it pretty quickly. So we will have that game plan. It's just about ready now, but it'll be ready next week, and we'll move forward from there.
Okay.
The first money's actually has already come in.
Right. Wow. So you definitely have to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I mean, it was great to just get an opportunity to sit down with you for a few minutes and chat about some of the wonderful things that you've got going on here at the University College of the Cayman Islands. I'm going to take it. Is the expo still on? I might be able to pop in.
It's just wrapping up, but you still could see the scope of it. It's very impressive. The number of participants there in terms of presenters is really good. I mean, the 911 Center is there, CUC is there, a number of different, like the St. Matthew's Medical School and Veterinary School. A lot of different companies, all the big finance companies and banks. And I guess if nothing else, it gives a young person some comfort that there's a lot of choice for them to make. And so they can't really complain that there's limited opportunities. There are many opportunities here. You just have to take advantage of them and, have the right skills that these folks are looking for.
Anything exciting coming up in the coming months that your students can look forward to here at the university?
Well, in the next few weeks or month, we will announce a new digital literacy program. Again, that's a big issue in the Cayman Islands, as it is throughout the world. I think you perhaps have heard me say that 2023 has been named the year of skills by the European Union. They think there's about 8 million European employees who need to upskill their digital skills. Wow. Here, my understanding is we have a deficiency of about 500 people in terms of work permits in that area. And so we need to put something together that's kind of short and stackable and certified. So we have an arrangement now with CompTIA, which is the global kind of certification body that people are looking for, companies that are working here. And so we'll have programs available. So if you are working, you can take the program because it's that type of program. It's flexible. You don't have to be full-time. Or if you're not, you can take it full-time. So we want to make sure that the options that are available suit you as a student. One of the experiences that I've had as an academic in different parts of the world is most schools set up programs to suit them, not you. So if you happen to, be available in the evening, I'm sorry, we don't offer classes in the evening, which doesn't make sense in today's world. So that program will be 5 courses. It would take a year to finish part-time. And so it would give you the kind of skill sets that it appears that we are issuing work permits for, and we should be trying to train people for. A week ago, we had a breakfast with employers. We had a young man there who was a Caymanian who had 2 CompTIA certified courses, and he was picked up by a company just like that. Wow. And he's only got 2 of the 5, but the employer told me that's exactly what we need. We're going to encourage him to do the rest. We don't want him to drop out of them, but 2 of 5 is a very good start because these are globally recognized certifications. It's very important.
Wonderful.
Wow. Yeah.
So that sounds like a great opportunity I'm sure we'll get more about
Yeah.
the registration process once
Exactly.
it's available.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate
Thank you.
being able to chat with you. And folks, again, you know, the University College of the Cayman Islands offers a wealth of courses. So please contact them. We'll put a little ticker down at the bottom on how you can reach out to their sort of registrar's office and get more information.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks too.
Thanks.
Oh gosh, my apologies. Had myself still muted. My apologies. I was just saying that was Dr. Robinson from the University College of the Cayman Islands, and there are lots of wonderful opportunities, folks, for our children, their young people at the university at either low cost or no cost to them. As far as I know, the government still offers full scholarships, especially for the first 2 years if they want to do their associate's program. There's the Resembid grant program, which we were talking about a little bit there, which has been a wonderful opportunity for the Cayman Islands and the University College of the Cayman Islands to put itself on a map. So much so that other people in the region, in the Caribbean, are reaching out to say, hey, we want to know how you guys did this. Because listen, to get grant money from Europe isn't easy, but it is doable. And the Cayman Islands has done it through UCCI, all about sustainability, solar programs. You know, there was a tourism aspect to the first portions of the grant. There was, I think, 4 or 5 key areas that people could get involved in. These are wonderful, wonderful opportunities. Believe me, spread the word far and near that our young people have opportunities. I like what he said. You heard what he said? It's not about the lack of opportunities. It's just people need to take advantage of it. So the opportunities are there. John Gray High School, wonderful facility, wonderful opportunities. UCCI has higher education opportunities, folks. Just get on it. Inquire and see what's available. So last week, Friday, they had a Chamber of Commerce job fair. And I heard the turnout was amazing. Over 400 kids went to the job fair. They were finding out from 60 companies what the opportunities are within their respective organizations. And sometimes that will guide young people to think about what it is that they actually do want to study in university. You know, do what you love for sure, but you've also got to be practical, because if you do what you love and there's no opportunities out there to create an income from that, especially if you need to create an income from that, then you know you might want to have 2 jobs, because then do what you love as your side hustle until you can make it profitable and maybe pay your bills, and then you got something else that's like your day job where you do end up paying your bills from that. But you know, I love that companies are engaged. They're going out to the job fairs. They're talking to young people. They are showing them what's available. I saw some of the local hospitals, what the job fair, law firms, everybody was out there. And these are just fantastic opportunities that are happening right now in Cayman. So I don't want y'all to be complaining to me that nothing's going on and there's nothing for young people to do, because I've just given you an entire day's worth of information. So there's a couple things coming up on our cultural calendar. Big shout out to CNCF. We do have the Dress for Culture Day, which is coming up on Tuesday, and we're going to find out a bit more about that. It's coming up on Friday, March the 24th. So we will hear a bit more about that in the coming days. And I am going to dress up. I need to go find an outfit now, honey Jill. but my intentions are to dress to impress on Friday. So I need me a little Caymanian outfit. So if you know where I can get one, send me some links in the details, or link me some information, and I will certainly get on it. Okay, so I think that's it. We're player news, and then we're going to wrap up the show today. Most of my day is going to be spent clearing out and pulling out stuff and trying to organize my space. We do have some guests who are going to be visiting in the coming weeks, so I want to make sure that everything is perfect for the space that they're going to be in so they can have a nice relaxing time and not have my clutter to deal with. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be digging out and giving away and selling stuff and whatever. All right, so here's your news headlines brought to you by Kevin Watler. Big shout out to Kevin.
Hello, I'm Kevin Watler, and this is your CMR Daily Buzz. Here's a summary of some of Cayman's latest headlines. A woman was robbed of her handbag by a man on a bicycle as she walked along Seymour Road in Georgetown Friday morning. Police said that around 11:30, police received a report of a robbery near the cement factory. Police are again searching for 15-year-old Jasmine Ebanks and Shania Beckford. This is the second time in a month they ran away. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is reminding the public that anyone who harbors or conceals a young person is guilty of an offense and is liable, on conviction, to being fined $2,000 and to imprisonment for 3 months. The Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency is launching a new project to enhance awareness and understanding of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The project will take place within the Cayman Islands government with the ultimate goal of identifying priority areas of strategic alignment and local targets under the goals. The Office of the Auditor General said while the Cayman Islands achieved some environment-related successes, including measures to protect the environment, more effort is needed to meet the important environmental targets. The Auditor General identified 8 Sustainable Development Goals and 47 targets that focused on the environment. Now for your CMR weather update, it's brought to you by WG Charters. Sunrise at 6:29. Isolated thunderstorms are going to be around the area, where the temperature is at 83 degrees Fahrenheit and the humidity at 75% like the forecast calls for. It will feel like it's in the mid-80s. Winds east-northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour, and the sun sets at 6:37. At nighttime, the temperature falls to the mid-70s. Looking forward, similar weather conditions are expected. If you would like to know more on any of these stories, visit CaymanMallRoad.com or follow Cayman Mall Road on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. That's it for now on the Daily Buzz. Thank you for joining me. Please stay safe, and God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.